This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
A possible morning shower and 18 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
The Prime Minister has denied exaggerating his performance during the coronavirus pandemic. Scott Morrison told the Liberal Party election campaign launch his management of the pandemic saved the country. A Current Affairs Tracy Grimshaw interviewed the PM last night. She asked if he slightly overstated his part, given he wasn't working on COVID wards, didn't order enough rats or vaccines early on, and wasn't holding a hose during the bushfires or rescuing flood victims.
That's quite a long list you've been able to pull together. But let me say this, we've come through this pandemic better than almost any other advanced country in the world. JobKeeper was Save the Country, specifically what I was referring to, and if you don't think it did, Tracy, well, you can have that argument with the 800,000 people who kept a job.
A new poll shows support for the Morrison government and Labor is virtually neck and neck. Political editor Michael Packey.
With only days to go before election day, the latest Resolve strategic poll shows the opposition's primary vote has dropped to 31%, while the coalition is up to 34%. On these numbers, both sides would struggle to form majority government and would need the support of independents or minor parties. The survey shows 1/3 of people are unlikely to vote for either of the big two. Once preferences are distributed, Labor has a marginal 2-point lead over the coalition. The Resolve poll shows Scott Morrison is preferred Prime Minister over Anthony Albanese.
An 18-year-old man will front court today, charged with several drug offences, including trafficking. Police seized more than 1,400 tablets at Elizabeth Vale yesterday. They were labelled Xanax, but actually contained illicit substances. 3 teenagers ended up in hospital after allegedly being supplied with the pills. SAPOL is undertaking a major road safety blitz today. Michaela Kamarik reports.
Uniform and plainclothes police will be out in force on both city and country roads, targeting driver distraction. Being distracted behind the wheel has become the major cause of fatal road accidents, overtaking drink driving and speeding. Over the past 5 years in SA, 247 people have been killed and more than 1,300 seriously injured by distracted drivers. Police are urging South Australians to think about their behaviour on our roads this National Road Safety Week. Similar operations will be held in other jurisdictions.
The UN has voiced its concerns over how North Korea is handling its first reported COVID outbreak. They're urging Pyongyang to open up channels to receive humanitarian assistance. North Korea expert Professor Hazel Smith has told the BBC the country thought it would be able to cope.
They have, since the last 18 months or so, imposed the restrictions that have been so severe that even to have vaccinations coming into the country accompanied by foreigners was something that they were not prepared to look at.
The Queen has made her second public appearance this week, Her Majesty making a surprise visit to London's Paddington Station to see the new Elizabeth line. And 150 jobs have gone at Netflix as the streaming service deals with a drop in subscribers. Most of the positions are in the US. Now to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with footy. Port Adelaide looks set to give Charlie Dixon another week in the sandful, resisting the urge to bring him in to face Geelong on Saturday. The Power hasn't beaten the Cats in Geelong since 2007, and veteran midfielder Travis Boak has told Channel 9 it's always a difficult challenge.
Oh, there's no doubt Geelong play, their home ground very well, and they're a quality side, have been for a long period of time wherever we play them, and we've always had some great challenges, whether it's over here and certainly down there.
Melbourne has re-signed Premiership forward Charlie Spargo, meantime, who hasn't missed a game since 2020. The 22-year-old, who has booted 5 goals from 9 games this season, has agreed to a 3-year deal. And Collingwood captain Scott Pendlebury and rising star Jack Ginnivan are on track to return from illness to face Fremantle on Sunday. Defender Jack Madgen has been ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury. Let's go to soccer now. Melbourne Victory has won the first leg of its semi-final tie against Western United 1-0, thanks to a goal in the 74th minute from Jake Brimmer. Meantime, Liverpool leads Southampton 2-1 with only minutes to play in their EPL clash this morning. And in some netball to finish, this New South Wales Swifts have escaped with a 61-60 goal win. That was against the Sunshine Coast Lightning in Super Netball, while the Melbourne Vixens have trumped the West Coast FIVEAA 70-64. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
A possible morning shower and 18 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 18, much the same again on Friday and 17. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Not 3 times on the ceiling if you want.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Means you meet me in the hallway. Whoa, twice on the pipe. Means you ain't gonna show.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. Wednesday is, of course, Sean Fuse today. We'll take you around the course with Sean after 7:30 today. Simon Hill from Channel 10's A-League coverage will join us, the voice of football in this country, to preview Adelaide United's clash this evening against Melbourne City at Hindmarsh Stadium. We're going to talk about the issue of umpire abuse in footy, but as it relates to us in this program, we're most interested in how it plays out in junior and amateur football. So we'll be speaking with John Kernahan a little bit later in the morning. We're very much looking forward to that. We'll catch up with the SES, to whom we're saying thank you today as part of Volunteers Week, and we'll get you through all the big stories of the morning too, including Anthony Albanese's press conference yesterday, at which it was confirmed that we won't get any form of costings until tomorrow. And the one poll in Australia that hasn't been wrong since 2007. What does it say about the election? That's coming up. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I saw a poll last night that the 9 newspapers, the papers formerly known as Fairfax, The Age, Sydney Morning Herald, and also Channel 9 did, showing that it's 51-49. Now, you can't call anything from that. In fact, you can probably call that the Libs could get up.
Yeah, I think there was some. The poll format was different to news poll and others because it forced you to pick a party. If you didn't pick, when you ask questions, if you didn't sort of pick at the end,
they'd pick one for you.
Well, no, they just disregard. You didn't count.
Oh, okay.
So there was some weirdness with the process is different. I'm not saying it's not legitimate, but we're comparing apples with apples with different polls, and the way this was done was a little bit different.
You know, the Breaking at 8 we did a few weeks ago with the 10 seats. Well, last week. It was last week. I spoke to a couple of the blokes yesterday who helped me come up with that 10-seat list, and they said, "Yeah, I'm not so sure about that anymore."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, did you note yesterday? Not that. I mean, I don't know. I think betting on the election's a mug's game because there's too many people that know too much. But the odds changed significantly in favour of the coalition in the last 48 hours, which suggests there is some polling knowledge around the place, be it internal or within the media.
Well, I did 10 seats that Labor or the Independents were going to win. Labor-leaning independents, that is, who will put Alba in a position to, at the very least, form minority government. But now people on the Liberal side, in the strategy side of things, are of the view that seats that they said were definitely gone, now they're not so sure. Now they reckon they're with a chance. There's crazy talk in Sydney that Christina Keneally, the former Premier, might not win the seat of FIVEAA, which is like Elizabeth. Like, it's the most working-class seat, and it's because she annoyed the locals by trumping that Vietnamese Australian who was a local in the pre-selection, being parachuted in as this star candidate. And in an excellent Australian sort of response, a lot of the locals are just going, "Well, up yours. We don't want you as a blow-in. We don't want a star candidate. We want someone from the area."
Yeah, which is fair enough.
I was told yesterday that Liberal volunteers aren't doing anything anymore in Boothby. That they've just gone...
conceded.
Just pull out. And also that there's concerns in the James Stephens camp that they didn't get enough help early.
Oh, well, the recrimination's already starting, are they?
But equally, no one's seriously saying that Sturt's going to go.
Right.
Could be a nice marginal seat for Labor to have a crack at next time.
Yeah, it might be. Mark from Glenside says, when does the election advertising blackout kick in? If I hear that repellent, there's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, add one more time, I'll chunder. Gives me I don't know what that word is.
The chills.
The shit.
I don't know what that word is either,
No,
Mark.
I don't know what that is, Mark. But in any case, I understand. We appreciate the sentiment.
It's entered popular culture, that ad, for being so annoying. I was watching that Channel 10 program, The Cheap Seats. I really like that show. It's a really, really good, easy-to-watch show. This young couple, a guy and a girl, she's a Kiwi. She's got the best Kiwi accent. I don't even know her name. She's up for Best New Talent at the Logies.
Right.
What's her name, Liz? Melanie Bracewell. But they did a bit of a Eurovision rap last night, and they said, well, here's the Australian contestant. We've got some video of him now. But he lost the crowd with the chorus, and they dubbed the performer, you know, the guy who's wearing that weird face mask made out of sequins.
Yeah.
You're not across your Eurovision,
No,
are you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So they had footage of this guy performing at Eurovision, and the song coming out of his mouth was going, "There's a hole in your bucket, dear Labour, dear Labour." It could be the whinging Wendy of 2022.
The blanket advertising ban is usually 48 hours beforehand, so it'll be tonight, and by midnight tonight, I think you won't hear those ads anymore. Because you're not allowed to have any advertising 48 hours out. So I think that's...
So that means we get our show back. Could we finally, we'll be Clive Palmer free?
I suspect so.
We'll have no Nick Xenophon ads, no Rachel Swift ads.
Unless, Craig Kelly's the Prime Minister come Saturday, as promised.
Well, that's right.
Well, that's play. Hey,
Save your homes. Save your homes.
There's a story on the front page of the Western Australian this morning about an independent that looks likely to get up now in the seat of Curtin in Western Australia, which has been a Liberal-held seat. And so it's the front page of the Western Australian. And I was reading that, but my eyes then went to the second top story on the front page of the Western Australian because it sounded eerily familiar to what we've seen here in South Australia. It says this. In fact, the headline reads, "How many more must die before Ambo crisis fixed?" The devastated son of an 80-year-old woman who died from a suspected heart attack after waiting 2.5 hours for an ambulance says his mother's death is unforgivable. Goes on to detail issues in the ambulance service in WA. It's the second time someone's died because they've had to wait. They're not getting out there quick enough. It's a problem obviously here in South Australia. Victoria have had their problems. Western Australia have got major problems. And I thought we were kind of told in the election campaign that a big part of the issue here was you needed to throw more money at it. We needed to spend more money to fix the problem. And I just, in the back of my head, I thought, didn't WA's budget come out last week?
$5.7 billion surplus.
$5.7 billion, which is the second biggest ever, equaling New South Wales 2016-17 at 5.7. But it was beaten. Do you know who beat it?
Well, the Sultan of Brunei, I don't know.
Western Australia had a bigger budget than last year, with $5.8 billion. Right. So they've had $11 billion worth of surplus, money they cannot spend. Over the last 2 years. 2 years. And they're in the midst of a ramping crisis. It makes me wonder how much you can fix this with just money.
Yeah. That's
because if money mattered, these would be fixed.
Well, I mean, the level of extravagance now with the budget was that they just gave every household a $400 cheque to help cover the cost of power bills, which have actually come down of late.
Yep.
So, you get $400 in your pocket. Thank you. No one's going to turn their nose up at that. Not means tested either. So, Gina Reinhardt, Rose Hancock. Well, she's no longer with us, Rose. God rest her soul. She was about the last Rose Hancock, wasn't she? One of my friends moved into her house pre-Damore. He convinced Rose Hancock to let him live there for 6 months.
Wow.
He wrote a book about it.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
That's amazing.
He was a very enterprising young man, Brendan Shanahan. But yeah, no, your point is, it's a good one. So, the Liberals, here's the 10th question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. For $1 million, name the former Liberal leader in Western Australia who lost his own seat in the 2021 election route.
I have no idea.
Zach Kirkup.
Zach Kirkup. Oh, yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue.
So now that Zach Kirkup's gone, I don't know who the opposition leader is there, but they've got 2 seats.
Yeah.
They won 2 seats. They held 2 seats. 1-2.
So there's your leader and deputy leader. Their contest wouldn't have been fierce, would they?
Who knows? They might have formed 2 factions. That'd be a wet and a dry.
Probably.
So what do? Do they, next election, do they just look at what Malley did?
Yeah, we'll fix the ramping crisis.
Yeah. Mark McGowan's not promising to build a basketball stadium,
maybe. Just makes me think the whole thing's a little bit more complicated than, we just need more money.
Well, it is, and this is why I know it annoyed him. But the manner in which the new government is handling the figures now that they're the government, like in their defence, they say, well, we are being more transparent than the Libs were, because the Libs used to release the ramping figures every 3 months by way of a drop to whatever journo would go slightly easy on them in return for being handed the exclusive. That's Labor's line. And then they say, well, we're doing 3 times better than that because we're releasing the figures monthly. But the opposition says, well, hang on, you've just spent the entire election campaign working cheek by jowl with the Ambulance Employees Association, releasing figures every day, at least every week, going, 2 people have died. Now, just because someone died and it involved an ambulance doesn't mean it was necessarily the ambulance's fault.
Yeah,
like, the sad reality is people actually do have a habit of dying all the time for all sorts of reasons. I'm not saying that in some of those cases it wasn't 100% attributable to the lateness of the ambulance. But what happened was that in a daily real-time fashion, the Libs got utterly smashed by the opposition and the union, and the Nurses Federation played a role too, in a hugely partisan attack on a problem which shows no ideological allegiance, does it?
No, none
it's
whatsoever.
Plaguing the McGowan government, plaguing the Andrews government.
Yeah, exactly right. 17 minutes after 6.
Steve Marshall, if you're listening, is probably lying in bed going, well, it would have been nice if you kept talking like this during the election campaign. Sorry, former Premier.
8223 is there. You can text us as well on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line 0480 1395.
We'll make the first $30,000 paid on a home loan tax deductible each year and restore the great Australian dream to a young generation that currently have it taken away from them.
Authorised by Craig Kelly for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Can you believe it? It's the end of financial year already, and the team at Edwardstown Mazda are loving it because the savings they can pass on are outstanding. Drive away in a new Mazda CX-30 from $33,297 and the all-new CX-5 from $36,209 drive away. And no matter where you live in Adelaide, Edwardstown Mazda is easy to get to at 862 South Road, Edwardstown. End of financial year sale on now. LMVD 207428.
Now, if you're fitting out a workshop, your shed, or rooms around the home with extra storage, forget the flat pack, say no to the Allen key, just ring Sharman Shelving. Go Sharman Shelving all the way.
And here's the thing we all love about Sharman Shelving, and that is it's all done for you by people who, do this for a living. We should throw that in
it's
there.
their job.
I don't know what you guys all do at home, but very few of you are shelf experts.
Yeah, you're not shelf
The
manufacturers.
hint with Sharman is it's in their name.
Yeah.
Sharman Shelving.
That's
so
right.
there's no relying on you who doesn't, have a master's degree in shelf construction to read instructions in 17 different languages with indecipherable graphics. You see? You can get experts to do it. I like that. I wish it would catch on, David.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for it. It was an excellent rant, Will. I know you've been fired up about this for a long time.
I have been.
And this ad gave you the platform you've yearned for
It
so long.
ignited something in me
It
then.
a spark. Just Sharman Shelving is just excellent. Like, just go in there and just walk around and go, oh, hang on, I really want one of them.
Yeah.
They got everything. They got, really innovative stuff made by local blokes. They'll come out of the car industry and they went post sort of Holden Mitsubishi. We're really good at making things out of steel. Let's keep doing it. Call Sharman Shelving. They'll come out to your house. They'll give you a free measure and quote, then deliver and assemble it all for you.
And look, if you want to assemble it yourself, they're fine with you doing that as well. They'll give you all the support you need to make it happen.
Don't know why you'd want to, though. When it comes to storage solutions, everyone needs a little Sharman in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
The solar system installed by NRG Solar has made us change our habits in relation to the use of electricity. We followed the advice to use most of the electricity, like the aircon, during the day. And so I think that's a way of forcing the prices down as well. We have solar monitoring, and I consult it most every day. And it's been very useful to see the trends.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au. 5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Tax time is around the corner, so now's the time to upgrade your home office with a laptop that's packed with features. HP have taken a fresh approach to the new 16-inch HP Victus. It's thin, light and powerful with a processor and graphics card ready to deliver high-definition gaming and immersive visuals. Not a gamer? The HP Victus specs are also perfect for graphic design and video editing. It has a long battery life and it charges fast too. Power down the device and go from 0 to 50% in around half an hour. And best yet, it comes with a $100 Harvey Norman gift voucher. Take the HP 16-inch Victus home for tax time, just $998.
Check out this great offer at fiveaa.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes after 6, we're at 45 minutes away from the official sunrise this morning at 7:06. News headlines on this Wednesday morning. Latest polling shows Saturday's election now could come down to the wire. The gap between the major parties is narrowing. The Resolve strategic poll shows the opposition's primary vote has dropped to 31%. The coalition is up to 34%. So we're now over a third of Australians not voting for a major party. Is that right? 65%, yeah.
Well, it feels about right.
It's phenomenal, though.
Yeah, well, doesn't it gel with what people are saying about the election?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I don't not believe it. It just feels like a significant moment in Australian political history.
One of the candidates yesterday, one of the seats here, texted me and said, "Hey, any chance I could come on?" And I said, "Look, we're not doing entire seat-based. Let's interview all 3, 4, 5 candidates. Like if the ABC want to bore their listeners to that extent, good luck to them. But." And this person who's running for public office said, yeah, it's been pretty dire, hasn't it? Yeah. I think there's a broad acceptance that... Even the candidates think it's crap.
Yeah. It is a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
I mean, if people want to find out about what's happening in Boothby or Sturt or whatever, I mean, you know, we'll play our role up to an extent, but... Having a 20-minute debate with 5 people screaming over the top of each other just doesn't sound like good radio to me.
No.
We didn't discuss that separately, but do you concur?
I absolutely concur. Because it's not as though...
I was talking to Luce and Sam about it, because we haven't ruled the idea out. It could still happen if I get overruled by you 3.
No, we spoke about it yesterday a little bit. But it's not like there's some gigantic contest of ideas that's going on at the moment. There's no great policy difference. There's no vision for Australia that's markedly different. It's
just I'm a much better economic manager than this bloke.
Yeah, that's right. It's all it's the feel. It's the vibe election.
And Albo, he's not a very nice person.
Yeah, I'm nicer than him. Well, I'm better at economics than him. Yeah. Okay, great. Debate over.
That's right.
Cast your ballots, Australia.
Is the election in 25 words or less?
At midnight, a 24-hour police safety blitz commenced targeting driver distraction. It's become the major cause of fatal accidents over the past 5 years, overtaking drink driving and speeding. That's phenomenal. Uniform and plainclothes officers will be out and about until midnight tonight, dishing out fines. Here's Superintendent Bob Gray.
People read magazines, people put makeup on when they're driving along, people try and pick things up from the floor. Any activity that takes you away from focusing on driving is lethal potentially.
He's reading a magazine in the car.
That's pretty brazen, isn't it?
Vogue Living, thinking about, throw rugs. Ooh,
have you ever...
I see the new Spectators out.
I don't want to put you in an awkward spot as an ex-paper man, and I don't know what the relationship between papers and magazines are, but have you ever been so compelled by anything written in a magazine you thought, I just need to keep reading this while I'm driving?
No.
Good.
I don't think you really need to do anything while you're driving.
No.
Driving's a good chance to get away from your damn mobile for a while.
Yeah.
Just,
absolutely.
Listen to 5AA.
A man will front court today following a drug bust in the northern suburbs. Police found over 1,400 tables labelled as Xanax, but actually containing a variety of illicit substances at Elizabeth Vale. It's alleged the 18-year-old supplied drugs to 3 teenagers who all ended up in hospital. The United Nations has voiced its concern over how North Korea is handling its first reported COVID outbreak. The world's The world body's Human Rights Office in Geneva is urging Pyongyang to open up channels to receive humanitarian assistance. And talks searching for an end to the Russian invasion of Ukraine appear to have halted, with both sides blaming each other for the collapse. Moscow is claiming victory in Mariupol as Ukrainian fighters pull out of a steel plant in the area.
Mentioned this on air yesterday. Excitingly, folks, a quick Google search will turn it up for you. But the first photograph has emerged of Kim Jong-un standing in a pharmacy, inspecting the pharmacy. He's
Just in the nick of time.
Holding a little vial of something. Who knows what it is, probably sniffing salts. But he's looking impressed.
He's on top of it. 11.8 degrees outside. He might actually come up with the cure. 18 the expected top today.
Very good golfer.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit like Tommy Wren.
18 tomorrow. Friday 17, Saturday 20, no rain on the forecast, 22 Sunday, 23 Monday, a little bit of a drizzle on Tuesday, and 23. You mentioned Tom Wren because he's here in the studio with us thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yesterday I had a hole-in-one. Kim Jong-un had 4, I think. So he had me covered. One of them on a par 5 as well. So.
He's a big hitter.
He's a gun.
Like the llama. Big hitter, the llama. Long.
Hey, you talking to Simon Hill a bit later. Big game for the Reds tonight, of course, at home against Melbourne City. Good morning for the Reds if you're a Liverpool fan. They've just won 2-1 against Southampton, so that means the Premier League title fight goes down to the very last game on the weekend.
Liverpool have won everything, haven't they?
So far, they've won the FA Cup and the League Cup. They're in the Champions League final. But Manchester City should win the Premier League. They're a point clear with a game to play, so they just have to beat Aston Villa on Sunday morning our time. Monday morning. They should do that. But you never know. The last day can throw up some curly situations. Fellas, sometimes we complain and bemoan the fact athletes, always get behind each other. There's like this player's code of conduct. Will, you'd be following this more closely, I think, than David would be. But in the NBA, Chris Paul, who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, plays for the Phoenix Suns, but a bit of a perennial choker, has never won a championship ring. And the Phoenix Suns go out in Game 7 again. He has a pretty poor, quiet game. And Patrick Beverley, who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, has let the media know what he thinks of Chris Paul.
He can't guard. He literally can't guard.
He can't guard. He can't. Chris Paul can't guard anybody? Is that what you say?
Did you see that? No, he can't. Everyone knows that.
Excuse me. No. I don't know that.
Everybody knows that.
He can't guard anybody.
What we call a cone. You know what you do with cones? Like when in the summertime, you got a cone. You make a move. What does the cone do?
Stay still.
Exactly. He's a cone. Stop playing, man.
He went on as well.
Is that what his own teammates he's talking about?
No, another player in the NBA.
It's a player he hates. Pat Beverley and Chris Paul have a really fractured relationship. Patrick Beverley, there's an iconic moment where he basically assaulted him as Chris Paul was walking away in a game. He doesn't like him. Patrick Beverley is a bit like, imagine a bloke on the cusp of playing in the AFL, right, who maybe, he's the 18th bloke picked every week, saying Marcus Bontempelli sucks, right? That's Patrick Beverley. He got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round.
They lost in 6.
He talked a lot.
Yeah.
Patrick Beverley needs just to shut up. With respect. Chris Paul's didn't cover himself in glory, but he's one of the 75 greatest players to have ever played the game. Pipe down, Patrick.
That's a good retort.
Yeah. Thank you, Rennie.
Yeah.
On your Tom.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series section of doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
Hi, Nick Xenophon here. This election, you can vote differently. The green ballot paper is where you choose who forms government. The white ballot paper, where I'll be, is for the Senate, where I will stand up for South Australia because I give a damn. Vote 1 in Box O above the line on the white ballot paper to vote for me. Box O is just next to the Greens. Give me a go. Vote 1, Box O. Authorised by Nick Xenophon Paradise.
I'm Peter. I used to run half marathons, and then I got COVID. I spent 9 days in hospital, 7 on oxygen. And my lasting memory is laying in a hospital bed thinking I was going to die. Calling my friends with the little breath that I had, wondering if it was goodbye. Even though I was young, healthy and double vaxxed, COVID nearly killed me.
Double vaxxed isn't fully vaxxed. Book your third COVID shot now.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Now, ladies, this is a serious issue. Are you always looking for the closest bathroom? Because when you've got to go, you've really got to go. Overactive bladder is a medically diagnosed condition that can make you feel you need to go to the bathroom urgently, as well as cause difficulty holding on until you get there. Caruso's Wee Less is a therapeutic bladder health supplement that helps reduce the urinary incontinence and urgency associated with a medically diagnosed overactive bladder. It also supports bladder health and function, so if you want to control the urge, try Caruso's Wee Less today. It's made here in Australia. It comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible morning shower and 18 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The state government says it's on track to lift the COVID emergency management declaration after securing the support of the Greens and SA Best. The crossbenchers will support the passage of the government's amendments to the Public Health Act through the Legislative Council. The government's legislation has been drafted in consultation with the Emergency Management Council, which includes State Coordinator Grant Stevens and Chief Public Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier. The Prime Minister will campaign in a marginal Victorian seat today that the Liberal Party hopes it can win from Labor. Clinton Maynard is travelling with Scott Morrison.
Torquay in the Surf Coast is one of the most picturesque parts of the country. This morning, though, it becomes a political battleground. The seat on the outskirts of Geelong is held by Labor, but YouGov polling has the Liberal Party level on a two-party preferred basis. Such is the coalition's hope. Scott Morrison has flown direct from Darwin to campaign here this morning, no doubt also buoyed by the Resolve strategic poll that shows the coalition is narrowing the gap to Labor overall.
The Australian Electoral Commission is struggling to fill roles at some polling stations ahead of Saturday's vote. Around 100,000 temporary employees are needed to perform jobs like counting votes and handing out ballot papers. The AEC's Evan Eakin-Smith says it can be hard to get workers at regional booths.
We're reasonably good in the vast majority of areas around Australia. There are some identified regional locations, northwest Queensland, rural areas of WA and South Australia, for instance, where we are struggling to get numbers.
Charities are warning a growing number of Australians are struggling to manage rising costs. The Salvation Army is surveying those who've needed the charity's help in the past 12 months, finding almost half have had to skip meals because they couldn't afford to eat. Major Bruce Harmer says even people with jobs are struggling.
93% of those respondents to our survey said they're living below the poverty line. Even worse for those who are on government benefits. 97% of those people filling out our survey stated that they are living below the poverty line, and of most concern to the Salvation Army are families and children, 98%.
A Ukrainian presidential advisor believes the resistance put up by soldiers in Mariupol has changed the course of the war. The Ukrainian city is now under total Russian control. 264 Ukrainian troops holed up in the steelworks have been evacuated and transported to Russian-controlled territories. Yuri Sak has told the BBC by holding out for more than 80 days, they'd thwarted Russian plans to capture eastern Ukraine.
They actually gave Ukrainian armed forces invaluable time in which we were able to regroup, we were able to receive more military assistance from our Western partners.
The infamous slap in the face to Chris Rock at this year's Oscars may lead to him hosting the event next year. TV bosses like the idea. If he does, we won't see the slap part 2. Smith has been banned from the ceremony for 10 years. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
What's happening at Westlake's, Tom Wren?
Well, Adelaide's players are set to hit the training track this morning, Mel, as they look to prepare for Saturday night's clash against St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. The Crows looking to break a 3-game losing streak, which sees them currently sitting in 14th place on the ladder. To soccer now, Adelaide United will take on Melbourne City tonight in the first leg of their semi-final tie at Coopers Stadium. The Reds will then play the return leg in Melbourne on Sunday. Meantime, the English Premier League title race is going down to the final day of the season. Liverpool this morning defeated Southampton 2-1, meaning Manchester City sit just 1 point clear at the top of the table with just one game remaining.
Liverpool are going all the way.
They have dragged City kicking and screaming to the wire. The two-horse race is careering into the final furlong. The heavyweight greats will slug it out until the very last bell.
That call there on Optus Sport. Coach of the Australian women's cricket team, Matthew Mott, is favourite to be announced as coach of the England men's limited overs team. Brendan McCullum was last week named coach of the England Test side. And the Eastern Conference Final Series gets underway this morning in the NBA. Miami taking on the Boston Celtics. Tip-off is at 10 a.m. our time this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
18 for your Wednesday with a possible morning shower, partly cloudy tomorrow 18 and 17 on Friday. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. Cardiovascular disease is prevalent within our community. Younger people are dying unexpectedly or ignore the symptoms of heart disease. You can avoid heart attack by knowing the signs and practicing heart health. Our cardiologists and vascular surgeons consult at Western Hospital and provide a wide range of services from testing to intervention within state-of-the-art facilities. Don't be a statistic. Visit westernhospital.com.au.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7. Jamie Oliver's got a warning for Boris Johnson. You'll hear it in just a moment. We'll get some text on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line first.
Does it involve seasoning from a height?
No, it involves a famous dessert.
The one thing that annoys me more than anything on cooking shows is the way Jamie Oliver always says, season from a height. Well, what difference does it make?
Makes a difference. Altitude.
So what if you were?
It changes the.
If you were 2 centimetres above your steak, seasoning it with the salt.
The dish.
Well, you got to get up on a chair to do it properly, do you?
Didn't you know that?
It's like some UN airdrop.
Yeah.
The seasoning's coming in from a helicopter.
Oh yeah, and on a molecular level, it makes all the difference.
What about poor old Jamie Oliver had to move house when all those yahoos in London found out where he lived? Because he was famous initially for his bacon sandwich, or as they call it in England, bacon sarnie.
Yeah.
So all these blokes when the pub closed, they walked round to his house going, hey, Jamie, can we have a bacon sarnie? And he moved.
That's terrible.
I know.
Poor Jamie Oliver.
Good yobbo traditions in England.
Yeah, that's right.
We've inherited a lot of them here, haven't we?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Speaking of, this is a text on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Speaking of driver distraction, can we agree that clowns waving political placards on the side of the road during peak hour are a blatant example?
Yeah.
Probably. One here, Sean on the Facebook live stream says, nothing could be more annoying than the Craig Kelly and United Australia Party ads. I tend to agree with that, Sean. We're playing a lot of them on this show. And one here from Rob, who's taken umbrage at the bucket ad that we're playing too, like every other media outlet in the country. Dave, listen to 5AA as a drive down the road is one of my escapes, but after this election cycle, it's all I can do not to drive into a tree with that hole in my bucket ad in every ad break. You know the only thing that's worse than the sound of political advertising? The sound of no political advertising because it's banned by the government that doesn't hold elections.
Yep.
Like if you don't want to hear political ads, there's a place for you and it's called Pyongyang.
Yep, that's right. And
or Baghdad.
It's not...
Oh, no, they have elections now in Baghdad.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
One of the few good things.
Don't know what their ads are like. Don't know what their ads are like.
How do you say there's a hole in my bucket in Arabic?
I'm not sure. Maybe if you tune in to Baghdad AA, you'll find out.
Will and Ahmed.
They're very good. They're very good, I've heard. So, in the UK, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, had committed to reforming school lunches. They had an anti-obesity strategy that they've subsequently
What, led by Boris Johnson?
Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do.
That's right. He was thinking of the children.
Video, I did stop eating cheese.
Exactly right. Now, they've abandoned it, though. So perhaps to your point, it wasn't something they were fully committed to in the first place, and it has drawn the ire of celebrity chef Jamie Oliver.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson. So I'm here at your front door at number 10 Downing Street, and I'd like to give you a little message, if that's possible. I've been thinking long and hard over the weekend about the fact that you've gone back, you've U-turned on key parts of the childhood obesity strategy. It's upset me and all the people that campaign for child health in these incredibly tough times where our kids have been most affected since COVID-19. I would love to give you the opportunity, if possible, to realise that it's okay to make a mistake. And what I'd like to say to you is you've got 36 hours to go back on your U-turn of your own law that your government put in place. What I'd like to say is give us your answer in 36 hours. And if you don't, I would call on parents, mums, dads, teachers, kids, chefs, nutritionists, campaigners to come here, Trafalgar Square, walk down here. It takes a couple of minutes at 12:30, midday on Friday, for 15 minutes. Why? Because we're going to bring, all of us, we're going to bring Eton Mess, that great dessert invented in the very privileged place that is Eton School, where our Prime Minister went.
It's a curious device to send a message about healthy eating, bringing along a famous dessert.
I can't stand that dessert.
Made of
soggy bread.
Yeah, it's made of like mashed up bits of.
Oh, it's bread with
pavlova, basically.
You get white bread, you cut the crusts off it, and you get like all the squares of white bread. Use crappy bread. You line a glass bowl with it, and then you get a slurry of mixed berries, and you do it like almost like a lasagna. So you layer it.
Right.
Fruit, more bread, fruit, more bread, fruit, more bread, and after a day in the fridge, all the juice gets soaked into the bread. To me, it replicates the texture. You know the worst thing in the world? School lunch sandwich, when mum's put a tomato in it.
Oh, and by
at 7 a.m. By lunchtime,
yeah.
Putrid.
The measures that the government were considering and have delayed are interesting. It was a ban on 2-for-1 deals on unhealthy food. So, you buy one, buy one, I don't know, bucket of chips, get one free. And a ban on junk food advertisements on TV. The second one's been hotly debated in the past. The first one goes to a thing that really irritates me in this whole debate about unhealthy food and sending the right message, and it seems to be that if you've got money, it's okay to eat bad food.
Oh, yeah.
All these measures that target, sugar tax. Well, who's that hurt? So if a financial barrier to eating badly isn't something that worries you, it's not going to deter you from making the right choices. And all it does is say to people whose joy in life might be occasionally a piece of paper wrapped up fish and chips that, oh no, you can't do that either.
I reckon there's a bigger point too, which is how much control do people like Jamie Oliver think that government should have over our lives?
Yeah.
And conversely, why do we think there's a whole bunch of things that the governments world over try to do and don't always do particularly well? So do we want them to control how we eat?
Yeah.
Like, at what point do people just get treated as sentient beings who can make their own choices?
Yeah, exactly right.
Like, if you want to have a crack at a 3-piece feed, if you're particularly hungry or hungover, which is about one time a year I subject myself to a 3-piece feed from KFC and then go into a 12-hour period of self-loathing and swear never to do it again. The last time I had one was the day after my 50th. Now, you saw me that night. I wasn't in very good shape. If you want to add a 4th piece of chicken to it, at what point does that decision-making process involve Boris Johnson, Scott Morrison, Emmanuel Macron or Joe Biden? Just eat what you want.
Yeah. Jenny in Summerton Park's called in. Morning to you, Jenny.
Good morning, boys. I just wanted to say to David, he was describing summer pudding when you say you line the bowl with bread and then put fruit in it. That's summer pudding.
Oh, you are absolutely right, Jenny.
Eton Mess is meringue. It's like a broken up pavlova.
Oh!
Will's right. You were right, Jenny.
What a moment.
I was wrong.
You were wrong for once, David.
Jenny,
I've been wrong before, Jenny. I'll be wrong again.
Jenny, you've got a 5AA Breakfast Cup coming your way to mark the occasion of the one time I've ever said something right about food.
Will's punching the air for joy.
That was
Jenny.
That is like the old broken clock, isn't it? That was the broken clock.
I should be forced to eat both of those terrible desserts now as a punishment.
Good on you, Jenny. Thank you. I just said, I figured. Well, I've got it wrong again. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No. You were right.
8223000. It was the exception that proves the rule. You can text us too on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line 0480 1395. We'll check traffic for the first time this morning when your slice of paradise at Henley Beach worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Good morning, boys. At Ridley, a smash on Torrens Road at Blight Street this morning. Stirling, a breakdown on the freeway down track. That's near the Stirling ramp. Allenby Gardens, sewer maintenance works there. Grange Road near Coombe Road. It's actually heading towards the beach. Got a lane closed at the moment. Speeds at 25 k's. And Tatachilla, works causing delays in both directions. That's Main South Road near Malpas Road. Does get pretty busy throughout the morning. Keep an eye out for a camera to Anzac Highway at Ashford. Feeling hungry? Head into OTR now and grab a sausage roll and a traveller pie for only $6. Available at OTR for a limited time only. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Did you know that South Australian explorer John Horrocks was shot and killed by his own camel? His shotgun, still in the animal's pack, accidentally discharged as his camel moved to kneel down, mortally wounding poor John. Actually true. And did you know that all Automasters service and repair centres offer repair now, pay later options? Absolutely true. Switch and save on logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service, guaranteed.
Hello, I'm Susie L. Allman, broadcaster and a Connect Hearing client and ambassador. And I'm asking the team what they think makes Connect Hearing so special.
We listen to our clients and take the time to help you understand your hearing loss, so you get what you need, exactly tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold. And that's why Connect Hearing's been awarded gold from FIVEAA for consistent high-quality service. For gold service audiology, book your free consult at connecthearing.com.au.
Before you vote, have a listen to Craig Kelly's policy speech at the United Australia Party launch. See it on Channel 10 tonight at 9:45pm. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit, brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
My first contact with NRG Solar was through Michael. He had a look around the house, around the roof. We have particular problems with trees, so he assessed the situation, made some calculations, discussed the options with me. What I liked most about the visit was that Michael was prepared to explain things in simple language to us and look at the options and just basically being professional.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor hasn't balanced a budget in over 30 years, and their COVID response would have cost an extra $81 billion. Labor didn't even cost their health policy and can't say how they'd fund billions of extra spending in their platform. And that means
more taxes are coming, more taxes, more taxes. There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, a hole.
It won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by AHERS Liberal Canberra.
So now you know about the camel who shot the explorer. You also know how to switch and save with Automasters. Logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service, guaranteed.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
I felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rub my eyes.
11 minutes to 7. I think the Telstra Stormont Barker text line is in meltdown at the moment. There's steam coming out of the machine.
Later today, I'm going to be strapped to a dunking machine in the Rundle Mall that's been filled with eaten mess to teach me a recipe-based lesson. I told you I don't know anything about desserts.
Lots of texts, but I think Joe in Henley Beach
has
managed to nail it, and thus, with his eaten mess gaff, Pembo has blown the election. Yeah, maybe.
I know, I like this. I'm really firing on all cylinders this morning. This is the best one. You're also wrong about Rose Porteous/Hancock being dead. I am. I just Googled it. She's alive. I'm not going to say another thing for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm just going to sit here quietly.
You've got it all out the way early.
In case I make a bigger goose of myself.
Yeah, you're on a big accuracy streak after this. I can feel it coming.
I'm due.
You're due. Yeah, that's right. Water finds its level.
I'm going through a rebuild.
Simon Tipke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
What kind of Wednesday have we got in store?
Look, the odd shower around this morning. Looking at the radar this morning, there's a few showers up over the far north and northeastern suburbs. Also a couple down south. One just moved across sort of Noongar area, and another shower approaching Adelaide Airport. But as the morning goes on, I think those showers becoming less likely, and by afternoon, probably not too much left. Temperature-wise, though, staying on the cool side. We had an overnight minimum just about half an hour or so ago at 20 past 6, 11.7, currently sitting on 11.8, forecasting a maximum of 18 degrees for the city, 17 for Glenelg, Elizabeth, Noongar, 15 degrees a maximum for Mount Barker today. The winds generally southwesterly, and they'll turn around a little bit more southeasterly in the evening, I think. Over the next couple of days, light winds for Thursday, partly cloudy but should be dry, 18 degrees as well. Similarly for Friday, dry and partly cloudy, 17 degrees. And then a little bit warmer over the weekend, partly cloudy and dry for Saturday, 20 degrees, up to 22 degrees for Sunday, dry and partly cloudy, and then up to 23 for Monday and Tuesday. So a gradual warming trend there, guys.
Great stuff, Simon. Nice.
Thank you, Simon. Simon Timpey from the Weather Bureau. Let's catch up with SAPOL. Matt Brown is on the line. Lots of text this morning about the 24-hour safety blitz that SAPOL are operating. We'll get to that in a moment. First, though, Matt, a ram raid at a Felixstowe supermarket.
That's right. Well, just after 4 a.m. today, police were called to a supermarket on Paynham Road after a staff member had disturbed 3 men who had broken into the store. And the men had used a long pole attached to a white van to break the glass in the front door by reversing the van towards the store and using the pole to smash the window. One of the men then got out and used a crowbar to gain entry to the shop, but the staff member inside shouted at the men, who then ran out of the store and got back in the van and sped off, and were last seen travelling in a westerly direction towards the city. Nothing was stolen from the store. One of the men was wearing a balaclava, and anyone who may have witnessed suspicious activity in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Matt, also there was a crash at Paradise last night.
That's right, David. Just before 10:30 p.m, 2 cars collided at the intersection of Darley Road and Lower North East Road. One of the drivers, an 18-year-old Ingle Farm man, was unresponsive when emergency services arrived at the scene, but he was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital by ambulance, and his condition has improved. Is not believed to be life-threatening. The driver of the other car, a 20-year-old Prospect woman, sustained minor injuries, and a 20-year-old female passenger wasn't injured. Both vehicles were towed from the scene, and investigations into the cause of the crash are ongoing, so we're still appealing for witnesses to come forward for that one as well.
And Matt, when I hear you guys talk about driver distraction, I always think it's sort of code for people on their mobile phones, but it sounds like this 24-hour blitz is a bit broader than that.
Yeah, there's a lot more things that can lead to distracted drivers, and of course they may lead to them being involved in serious or fatal crashes. So while the definition and penalties for distracted driving varies across the country, research shows that 60% of Australian drivers admit to using a mobile phone while behind the wheel. So that's the major cause, of course. But distraction is the highest fatal 5 contributory factor for both lives lost and serious injuries in South Australia. It's been on a steep trend to increase since 2017. So we're doing this National Day of Action right across the country, and we'll be targeting distracted drivers. On a personal note, for a distracted driver that I gave a fine to many years back, he was eating a Big Mac with 2 hands and driving with his knees on Main South Road at about 7 o'clock at night. He was holding the container with his left hand and had the Big Mac with his right hand and driving along, and then we've pulled him over, and I said to the driver, why were you eating the Big Mac like that? And he said, I didn't want to get any Big Mac sauce on my work clothes. I said, you do realise there's a table and chairs that you can sit in inside the restaurant? And so I gave him the fine. I said, there's the most expensive Big Mac you'll ever have. But the fine...
Do you want fries with that?
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember what the fine amount was back in the day when I did it, but today it'd be $293 for driving a vehicle without having proper control of it. So, keep two hands on the wheel and not on your Big Mac.
No, well said, Matt. Absolutely. You see a lot of people hoofing into a burger while they're driving.
A burger's designed to be two hands, really, isn't it?
Well, there's some one-handed burgers.
I guess there is.
Quarter pounder.
Yeah.
You can do that one-handed.
Maybe that's the thing, that's where the SAPOL would need to draw the line.
Well,
it's quarter pounder.
Mate, the way I'm going, I'm loath to speculate. I'll probably say something completely wrong.
Let me see the size of that burger, sunshine. How many patties are in that?
I know what you shouldn't eat while you're driving, and that's eating mess.
Yeah, you've always said that. 8223...
Don't want to get pavlova all over your work clothes or bread soaked in fruit.
8223 is the name. You can text us on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line. We've got enough texts now that have pointed out that it wasn't eating mess that had been described earlier, so thank you. Rob says, hope it's not like the Crows rebuild, Dave. Every time you give us hope, you go on a losing streak and we realise we're no better off. No, can you feel it for you?
Hey, don't blame me. I've been dissing Can You Feel It for almost a decade.
You've been the strongest anti Can You Feel It voice.
Never liked it.
Yeah.
Never liked it as a song.
No.
Never liked it as a sports related vehicle for overdoing things, getting ahead of yourself. It's genuinely cursed, that thing.
As a bit of a palate cleanser, Gabby Canizet is a 19-year-old who has gone where very few people on Earth have ever been, to the top of Mount Everest.
It was the most amazing feeling, just to know that you're literally on top of the world. There's nobody higher than you at this point. And if someone was to say, let's go do another 8,000 metre, I feel ready.
She is 19 years old, from Victoria, climbed it with her mother in the last couple of days, becomes the youngest Australian to have ever done it. The day after she summited Everest, the day after, so you know how gruelling, it's Everest. She summited...
I wouldn't do it again.
No, exactly, you wouldn't have done it. The next day you would have had a day off. She summited Everest's neighbour, I think it's pronounced Lhotse, which is the fourth highest mountain on planet Earth. So she summited Everest one day, and the next day said, I just need to do some climbing, and went and summited the fourth highest, consecutive days.
Do you reckon, is there anyone listening to our show who's climbed Mount Everest?
Or even been to base camp?
I'd love to hear from someone.
Absolutely. I very much doubt we'd have anyone that had summit.
What's the highest mountain you've climbed, Will?
Oh, no, it's been to the top of... You mean climbed or just been to?
I mean climbed. What's the highest you've ever been?
Well, the highest I've ever been is the top of the Zugspitze, which is the tallest mountain in Germany. I've been to the summit of that.
At least you said Mount Lofty. That's tougher than it looks, getting up to the top of that thing. I've done that a few times.
The trail is difficult. The trail is particularly difficult.
Mate of mine climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, really?
Frightened of this thing that I've become.
It's a great effort, and I'm obsessed with Everest climbing documentaries. And the one
Why
thing
would you do it when there's part of the trail? You walk past a bloke who's buried there, frozen stiff, and his hand sticking out, and you shake his hand for good luck.
Yeah, there's him. There's green boots. There's a whole... The people's bodies are literally markers on the trail because they're
I don't regard that as a good selling point for a holiday.
No, I'd rather
go,
the bodies.
This is the bar where Ernest Hemingway drank in the Metropole. In
different holidays for different people.
No, actually, sorry, that was Graham Greene. See? I just got to stop talking.
You need... What was your column the other week? You need a good dressing down from someone.
That's right. Where's Jeff Williams when you need him?
For a minute to 7.
Shut your mouth, you're clearly an idiot.
Back in a moment.
What makes Connect Hearing so special?
We really listen to you, so you get what you need tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold. And that's why we've been awarded gold from FIVEAA for our service. Try us at connecthearing.com.au.
1 in 4 Australian women experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Staying is dangerous, but leaving can mean homelessness for them and their children. With your generosity, the Salvos can provide crisis services and ongoing support helping women find a way out of violence and a way back into a safe and stable life. Please donate to the Red Shield Appeal at salvationarmy.org.au to help the Salvos leave no one in need.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Tax time is around the corner, so now's the time to upgrade your home office with a laptop that's packed with features. HP have taken a fresh approach to the new i7 laptop. This 15.6-inch i7 comes preloaded with Windows 11 and an ecosystem of rich software designed to create the ideal place for you to think, express and create. The visuals are crystal clear with its 2 million pixel Full HD screen. The 256 gig memory is SSD, which means it boots up quickly and runs quietly. The long life battery will easily give you a full day's charge. And best yet, it comes with a $200 Harvey Norman gift voucher. Take the HP 15 i7 home for tax time, just $998.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor can't say how they'd pay for billions in extra spending. That means
more taxes are coming, more taxes with Labor.
It won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by Ahurst Liberal, Canberra.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible morning shower and 18 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
The days of SA's COVID emergency management declaration are numbered. The Greens and SA Best will support the passage of the government's amendments to the Public Health Act through the Legislative Council, which will guide the state's COVID response from July. Premier Peter Malinauskas says it's been a priority since taking over the top job.
Soon after the election, I made it clear that we wanted to end the emergency management declaration that's been in place for over 2 years by the 30th of June this year. The passage of this legislation will be an important step in achieving that goal, and I want to thank other parties from in the Parliament for working constructively with my state government.
A ram raid with a difference at Felixstowe. Senior Constable Matt Brown says just after 4 this morning, a van with a long pole attached to the back reversed toward a supermarket, using it to break the glass on the front door.
One of the men then got out and used a crowbar to gain entry to the shop, but the staff member inside shouted at the men, who then ran out of the store and got back in the van and sped off.
The hunt for the offenders continues. 2 people have been injured in a 2-car crash at Paradise. It happened at 10:30 last night at the intersection of Darley Road and Lower North East Road. An 18-year-old man and 20-year-old woman were taken to hospital. The female passenger was not injured. A man will front court today following a drug bust in the northern suburbs. Police found over 1,400 tablets labelled as Xanax, but actually containing a variety of illicit substances at Elizabeth Vale. It's alleged the 18-year-old supplied the drugs to 3 teenagers who all ended up in hospital. A new opinion poll shows Saturday's election could come down to the wire, with a drop in support for Labor and a lift for the Morrison government. Michael Packey has more.
The latest Resolve strategic poll shows Labor's primary vote has crashed to 31% and the coalition is up to 34%. On these numbers, neither side can win a majority of seats in their own right and would rely on independents and minor parties to form government. After preferences are taken into account, Resolve shows Labor has a slight 2-point edge over the coalition, but that's down from its 8-point lead a fortnight ago. Voters still prefer Scott Morrison as Prime Minister over Anthony Albanese.
The Queen has opened a new train line in London named after her. UK correspondent Malcolm Stewart has more.
The Elizabeth line, as it's now officially called, will have trains running at up to 130 kilometres an hour from Reading in Berkshire and Heathrow Airport, then right under London and out into rural Essex with another spur to the southeast of the capital. And today, the Queen came to Paddington Station for a preview of what has been Europe's biggest civil engineering project for this century.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide looks set to give forward Charlie Dixon one more week in the SANFL before making the call to bring him into the senior side. Dixon has played one game for the Maggies since returning from injury, but there was no SANFL game last week, the Power aiming for a fifth straight win against Geelong on Saturday. Still on footy, Melbourne Premiership forward Charlie Spargo has re-signed with Melbourne for 3 more years. The 22-year-old, who has played every game this season, says he didn't consider leaving.
It was an easy decision, really. You go through all your contract stuff with your manager and it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's and that sort of stuff. But yeah, couldn't imagine myself playing footy anywhere and feel pretty privileged to be in such a good place at the moment.
Meantime, Richmond's Marlon Pickett and Sydney's James Rowbottom have both failed in their bid to overturn one-match suspensions for separate incidents, meaning they'll miss their round 10 matches this weekend. To soccer, Melbourne Victory has beaten Western United 1-0 in the first leg of their semi-final tie overnight. Meantime, Liverpool has kept its EPL title hopes alive with a 2-1 win over Southampton away from home this morning. Red centre-back Joel Matip scored the match winner, getting on the end of a corner kick at St Mary's.
Tsimikas takes. And Liverpool lead! A kind ricochet, a remarkable reaction, and Joel Matip has Liverpool where they need to be.
Commentary there on Optus Sports. And Tiger Woods will play with American Jordan Spieth and Northern Ireland's Rory McIlroy for the first 2 rounds of the PGA Championship, which begins tomorrow night. Can't wait for that one, Mel. That is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach, worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Adelaide sent a smash on Torrens Road at Blight Street. Elizabeth East reports of a smash on Main North Road near Midway Road. Stirling, look out for a breakdown on the freeway down track near the Stirling ramp. And Allaby Gardens, sewer maintenance works Grange Road near Coombe Road, heading towards the beach. One lane closed and speeds at 40 k's. Look out for cameras this morning, Paracombe Road, Paracombe and Raglan Avenue at Edwardstown. 50% of car breakdowns are battery related. Don't panic, plan. Book a free battery health check with Battery World. Visit them in store or book online today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
A possible morning shower, a top of 18 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 18, Friday much the same and 17. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Because I can't stop myself.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 7. We had a first hour of the show dominated by discussion about the eat mess, which when Jamie Oliver wanted to use it to pioneer a move to combat obesity in the UK, I don't think he imagined it would just become the subject of debate discussion on an Adelaide breakfast program, but here we are. We want to make it official. We have some prizes at our disposal this morning, so we'll give you a choice. But if you've got an eaten mess recipe that you can just recite live on the air, first caller through to be able to do it will win their choice of either a $100 Uggs to You voucher or a double pass to see the Reds play tonight at Hindmarsh Stadium. 82230000, semi-final tonight. We're going to speak to Simon Hill a little bit later.
Just to stress, folks, it does not involve bread soaked in fruit juice either. In case there's some half-wit claiming earlier that it did. I don't know who he was, but we got rid of him.
Big thanks to Brett as well on the Telstra Storm at Barker text line. It says, I mentioned I love watching Everest documentaries. He said, you've got to watch 14 Peaks on Netflix. Guy climbs the world's 14 tallest mountains in 8 weeks. The previous record was to climb that in a year. I'm going to watch that, Brett, and that's right up my alley. I'm absolutely obsessed with Everest documentaries.
I like this text as well. I told my dad that I was building a model of Mount Everest. He said to scale, and I said, no, just to look at. It's from the dad joke page.
Now, Lucy told me I got halfway through the phone number and I got distracted, which kind of sums up our morning so far. 8223 0000. 8223 0000 if you've got an eat and mess recipe for us. Let's get to some of the news stories of the day. We'll start in the United States, where the US President Joe Biden and his wife have gone to the scene of the shooting in Buffalo.
What happened here is simple and straightforward. Terrorism, domestic terrorism, violence inflicted in the service of hate, and the vicious thirst for power. White supremacy is a poison. It's a poison running through it really is, running through our body politic. And it's been allowed to fester and grow right in front of our eyes. I mean, no more. We need to say as clearly and forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America. None.
I note this morning that some of the talk shows in the United States are contemplating whether it is video games that are to blame for shootings like this, which I had to raise an eyebrow at because video games are popular right around the world, but mass shootings aren't.
No.
They tend to be popular in one part of the world.
Yet again, the key issue too, when you look at the bloke in his commando gear, like every single skerrick of the bloke's being was devoted to planning and executing this act of violence. If you can't get your hands on the hardware, it ain't going to happen.
Yep.
And this is where you made I think we were chatting off air the other day, Will, that with American gun-related atrocities, I don't see how a country that is so politically conservative can't look at the record of one of Australia's greatest conservatives, John Howard, in the way he responded to Port Arthur. But Sandy Hook, if you're not going to change the laws when a whole classroom gets taken out, you're never going to do it, are you?
Toddlers, little kids. I remember
that Saturday morning so clearly.
Yeah.
And I've never been so happy that I wasn't editing the Sunday Mail.
Yep. I
watched TV for about 3 minutes and just lost it.
Yeah.
When Obama was reading out their names, remember that?
Yeah.
And I just thought, and I said to Kate, I would not be able to edit tomorrow's paper. Like, it's just, and the thing that adds to the horribleness of it is the pointlessness of it, because why even have the conversation?
Exactly. It killed it for me. And I admit I've had this debate with producers before when there's a mass shooting. Why are we talking about this? Nothing's going to change now. That was the moment. I just lost interest in it, which is horrible to say.
Talk about something else.
But it's totally fruitless, the whole debate since that moment. You went, okay, well, that's never going to change now. Yeah. There's nothing horrible enough that's going to change it.
Yep.
Let's have a look at the what's happening in the federal election here in Australia. Anthony Albanese, I think. I don't know if you believe in omens or lucky charms or things that are unlucky. Just don't go to WA. Don't go to Western Australia, Albo, because it just doesn't go well when he goes over there. Yesterday he was at a press conference with the West Australian Premier, Mark McGowan, and the question quickly went to costings. Albo tried to wrap it up and leave it for Mark McGowan to conduct the press conference. So he's tried to do that, and the entire press pack just followed Anthony Albanese firing questions at him. Here's how it played out.
Thanks very much, and now Mark's going to talk.
All right. Thanks very much. Any questions for me?
Mr Albanese, will your deficit be higher or lower than the coal?
I'm sorry, Albert. Yeah, I know. I'll just wait till this madness finishes. Yeah.
Honestly, about that. Isn't there a problem with transparency? We're following you for answers, Mr Albanese, and you're now just not giving them. You have to answer eventually.
The costings will be released tomorrow.
It is a fair question. Like, I'm sure we've got that. Maybe the same bloke who rang Sam and abused him last week for us being, anti-Labor suckholes or whatever it was that he called us. Has got his little trigger finger there itching next to the phone. But these are fair questions. And Sid Marr wrote a really good piece in the Oz a couple of weeks ago. People are trying to spin things like the NDIS question as a gotcha question. It's not a gotcha question. It's what's known in question time as a Dorothy Dixer. The question was, so,
what are your 6
points?
Mr.
Albanese, you've unveiled an NDIS policy with 6-point plan. What are the 6 points?
Yeah.
That's not a trick question.
No. It's demonstrating you're across your brief. If anyone's going to know your policies, it should be you. I actually would like to think we would get to a point in Australian politics where we expect costings slightly before the eve of an election, either federal or state.
Oh, completely. Like, you can't have a 6-week campaign. And look, this is where in Albanese's defence, it has long been thus.
Yeah.
Particularly for oppositions that don't have the same access to Treasury that an incumbent government does.
That's why.
You know, this is the same point that Labor made at the state election here, that, well, we're not the government. We don't know everything. Like that was their defence for the cost questions around the aquatic centre. So there is a bit of truth to that. But if you're going to have a 6-week campaign, I reckon about the halfway mark's the point at which
I would have thought
it should come out. Because how much of their money, how much of our money they're going to spend is a reasonable thing to be asked.
I think that's fair.
And if you don't agree with that analysis, then you are probably so ideologically blinkered that you can't cop any, impartial analysis of what's going on.
There are a number of polls out at the moment that suggest the election is tightening up. There's one that I don't think many are reporting on, but has a pretty remarkable record for accuracy. Do you know the poll that hasn't been wrong since it was launched in 2007?
Is it Galaxy?
It's not Galaxy.
It's not called Galaxy anymore.
It's the little-known muffin break bean poll.
Muffin break.
They say
the colour muffins that you buy.
No, so you go to Muffin Break, and when you buy a coffee, they give you a bean while you wait, and you can go put it in this little dispenser they have in all the muffin breaks, and it will say Coalition, Labor, Greens, Independent, whatever, and you put a little bean in, whoever you like. They've done it since 2007. According to their website, they say it's never been wrong. It certainly got it right last federal election when the polls were suggesting that Scott Morrison was done. It had him getting up. This time round, the data is out, and it's got a coalition win. The Muffin Break poll suggests that once again they're going to get up. Now, is
there a margin on it?
Yeah, I'll get it for you.
Is it two-party bean-based preferred?
I don't know how they've assessed the preference flows, if that's what you're asking. Hang on, I'll read out the exact data for you. So they've got it at... so it's all primary, because it's just, who you're voting for. 35% coalition, 32.4% Labor. Other 19.2 and Greens 13.4. It's actually not that different from the Resolve poll. Was it the Resolve poll overnight? The one that was at 34 coalition, I think, for the first preference.
So the distribution of the bean preferences is interesting though, because with that, so the coalition for primary vote 35, Labor 32.5, but then the Green vote is 13.4. So you add pretty much all of that to the Labor vote, which gives you 45.8 to be exact. So the other 19.2 would be a combination of Teals, which break Labor, but only in about 5 seats do they really matter. Most of that vote is One Nation
and Clive Palmer,
which if 15% of it goes to the coalition, 15% of the coffee beans go to the coalition. That puts the Morrison government on 50%, leaving 4.8% Teal vote to go to Labor, which is deadlocked. So haggling with independents or a narrow win to ScoMo based on those bean-based figures.
Now, obviously there are some flaws in the polling, but you know what the reality of it is? It's a huge sample. It's 500,000 beans.
I think it's a really, really good indicator.
Except it skews towards those people that are happy to spend, $6 on a coffee.
Well, the other thing is it's not annoying, it's fun.
Yeah, that's right. So you're getting people
like my mum was saying, Mum lives in Boothby, she said, my God, every time I answer the phone at the moment, it's some pollster or it's some robocall. But this is a pleasant start to the day, nice wintry morning like today. You get into work, get into town to go to work, and you think, I'm going to go get a flat white. And you stand there, hey, Brian, see the barista. Just a nice pleasant start. Oh, I'll vote.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and there's no scrutiny over it. You're not being judged. You've just put it in. I think it's one of the most reliable polls so far.
Well, they've never got it wrong. So we will see how it plays. We haven't. I mean, they've basically called it as too close to call, but.
Yeah, on those beans it is.
Yeah, on those beans it is. It's just fascinating. All right, let's check traffic, and when we come back, we're going to get someone's eaten mess recipe and give them either a $100 extra view voucher or a double pass to Highmarsh Stadium tonight for the first leg of the semi-final. Adelaide United and Melbourne City. 82230000. Get calling now if you've got an eaten mess recipe on hand. Let's clear up all the confusion and put it to wear, and then everyone can be happy. Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Thanks, Will. At Ridleyton, a smash on Torrens Road at Blight Street. Elizabeth East, a smash on Main North Road near Halsey Road. Stirling got a breakdown on the freeway down track near the Stirling Ramp and Allaby Gardens. Sewer maintenance works there. That's Grange Road near Coombe Road as you're heading towards the beach. Cameras to look out for Anzac Highway, Ashford and Raglan Avenue at Edwardstown. Conquer your cravings with a succulent red rooster quarter chicken with deliciously crispy chips for just $5. The Rooster's calling. Get it where you can, while you can. Available till 4 p.m. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Rachel Swift, health specialist, small business owner, volunteer and Liberal candidate for Boothby. I know what's important to you. A strong economy means reduced cost of living and a stronger future. Vote 1 for Rachel Swift in Boothby.
Authorised West Meldrum Liberal Adelaide.
Would you like to bank $500,000? You could do just that if you get your tickets early in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 2 early birds will each take away $500,000 in cash. There's no better reason to get in early. Your tickets also stay in the draw for the $4 million grand prize at Henley Beach. Join the fight and buy your tickets at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14166.
Now, this is great news for people on the move, and I've got to say, this time 2 weeks ago, I very excitedly went down to Marston to Budget Car and Truck Rental to pick up a massive single-cab Hilux with a big, beautiful tray on the back. I had it for 3 days. I had it from Friday midday to Monday midday, $170.
I actually can say this now because I know you've returned it, but the budget people are lucky they got it back.
Yeah,
I actually thought this would be some sort of...
I was tempted. It did cross my mind.
Like a heist. We might never see you again.
You won't believe what's happened to the Hilux. It was a great car. And look, the good news is Budget Car and Truck Rentals, they're popping up everywhere. They've got a new location just north of town, 354 North East Road, Clemzig, and it's open 7 days a week.
Yeah, so whether you need to move equipment, you're moving out of your old home, moving into a new one, you might be moving fresh produce, maybe you're just moving people, maybe you just miss the feel of driving a Hilux. You'll find the widest variety of vehicles at competitive prices at Budget Car and Truck Rental.
See, the really good thing too is it's so easy. Like, you know, I did it online. I turned up at 12 o'clock. In fact, I turned up 10 minutes early. I said, sorry, I'm early. And they went, that's it there. Give us your licence and your credit card. See you Monday. It was excellent. And they've got a huge range from refrigerated trucks and vans, the utes, the aforementioned utes, four-wheel drive sedans and wagons, to buses you can drive on a car licence, even big trucks. Budget Car and Truck Rental have the vehicle to get it done with zero fuss.
With 7 convenient locations across the metro area, plus regional locations, including the new location north of the city at 354 North East Road, Clemzig, you'll find a Budget Car and Truck Rental close by. Call 13 27 27.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family, and Jarvis have stock ready for immediate delivery. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Flurio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Ingberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes after 7. Earlier in the morning, we were talking about Jamie Oliver's crusade to get junk food advertising taken off of TV and 2-for-1 deals at unhealthy food places banned. It was originally part of the British government's agenda, but it's been shelved for a year, and he says in protest people to turn up to Eton and make an Eton mess, which we thought it was a unique way of making a healthy eating message, was with a famous dessert. But in the process of that conversation, we got a little bit muddled up with what was in an Eton mess. So we're asking you...
No, don't be so diplomatic, mate. We didn't get muddled up. I got muddled up.
David got muddled up.
You were right. You said, that's meringue, isn't it? Oh, shut up. I do the recipes around here, smart guy.
It's the only time I've ever said anything right about food on the program, which makes it notable. Lots of listeners, though, were instantly aware of what had gone on, and so we thought, just to clear things up entirely, let's get an Eton mess recipe. Jan in Glandore is called in. Morning to you, Jan.
Hello.
How you going there, Jan?
I'm well, thank you, David.
We thought we'd defer to an expert,
Yes.
and I'm going to shut my silly mouth for a few minutes and let you explain Eton mess and how it's made.
Well, in the end, it's easy. After all the hard work of making the pav, when it comes out of the oven and it's a flop. So you try and put the cream on the pav and it all falls to pieces and you can't stick it together with cream. So then you just chop it up into hunks, you mix it with cream and strawberries, and then you put it in tall glasses so it looks very pretty, and people think that you've made this wonderful dessert. And it's really a flop pav.
So it's basically like an excellent plan B for a pav gone wrong.
Exactly. And I think that's why it was developed, because, yeah, they had their pavs not work out as they wanted them to.
I've never made a pav, Jan. Are you much of a pav maker?
Well, to be quite truthful, I am getting better as the years go by. I do make a decent pav, people say, yes.
Are you all crisp or are you a little bit chewy in the middle?
Sort of crisp on the well, definitely crisp on the outside and very marshmallowy in the middle.
Yeah, that's what you're after, isn't it?
Hey, Jan, thank you for calling in and setting everyone straight on the Eton mess situation.
Well done,
Would you like a $100 Uggs to you voucher, or do you want to go to the soccer tonight?
Oh, the Uggs would be wonderful.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Get some
It's a
Uggs
good
on you,
night
Jan.
for it. It's $100 Uggs to you voucher coming your way, Jan. We love Uggs to you there. Not far from me on the corner of Grange Road and Frederick Road. They do a wonderful job. But we do have now 3 doubles to give away to Adelaide United, Melbourne City tonight. It'll be Adelaide United's final home game of the season. Whatever happens from here, they'll be, well, in all likelihood, whatever happens from here, they'll be... No, in fact, they are. They finished 4th. So they'll be playing away in the grand final, you'd think. Certainly with victory getting up last night. So
I'm glad we had Jan from Glandore on. I feel like a certain equilibrium has been restored to the program after the earlier hour that dare not speak its name. It was only about a 10-minute patch. Really,
yeah, it was.
wasn't
It was all right. Not everyone's right all of the time. We've got... We'll give those tickets away in the next hour of the program a little bit later today. Now, let's turn our attention to sport properly. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Again, it was umpires in the AFL on the agenda in the sports show with Graham Corns.
He says we've always had criticism of umpires, and I listen like this. Yes, we always did.
Well, you actually rung in. You were fuming. We were going to put you to air.
There's always been issues with umpires.
Yes,
We've always been critical of umpires, but there's never been the criticism that we have at the moment. Every Monday, and I've heard Gillon McLaughlin on your quote earlier saying, look, it's getting better. Gil, it's not getting better. This Monday was as vehement and as angry. And the issue is the umpires, the way they deal out the 50-metre penalties if somebody puts their hands out or if someone encroaches over. It's the stand and it's the rules for the issues of dissent and the 50-metre penalty that's causing all the dramas at the moment.
And doubtless it'll be a conversation that continues on the sports show tonight. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way.
Isn't the simple problem that the effect a 50 has on the game is very, very, very rarely commensurate with the incident that's been perpetrated. So the obvious solution, I reckon, and this is where the AFL's too pig-headed to recognise that a so-called lesser league can be leading the way on this, just get rid of 50s.
Yeah.
Make it 25.
Yeah, I think...
Follow the SANFL.
Yeah, if that's the way you're going to officiate things, then that's something that absolutely has to change. But I think we need to sort of change the tone of the conversation a bit too, because I think the umpires are doing exactly what they're told. And I think the direction to the umpires is the problem, not the umpires themselves.
No, totally. They're just working with the hand that they've been dealt by the AFL.
Exactly right. This is a mess of the AFL's making, not the umpires. 21:09 after 7. 5AA News is on the way. We'll go around the courts with Sean Fuster next.
I'm Peter. I used to run half marathons, and then I caught COVID. Even though I was healthy, young, and double vaxxed, it nearly killed me.
Double vaxxed isn't fully vaxxed. Book your third COVID shot now. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Before you vote, have a listen to Craig Kelly's policy speech at the United Australia Party launch. See it on Channel 10 tonight at 9:45 p.m. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Mini Jumbuck, Australia's favourite wool bedding products, are now located in McLaren Vale, just a short drive from Adelaide and close to some of the region's best wineries and distilleries.
So call in the Mini Jumbuck for their great range of quality Australian-made wool bedding products to suit all sleepers and all climates. You'll love their extensive range of Australian-made quilts, mattress toppers and pillows.
Sleeping with wool allows your body to adjust to its ideal temperature, so you'll sleep more peacefully and wake refreshed. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck, McLaren Vale.
It's a really nice little store. I've been in there and just nice pottering around on the high street there in McLaren Vale. Perfect thing to do on a wintry day too. Mini Jumbuck, they also stock a huge range of genuine sheepskin Ugg boots and quality merino wool clothing.
For Australia's favourite wool bedding products, call into Mini Jumbuck. McLaren Vale, open 7 days.
Hello, I'm Susie Ellman, broadcaster and a Connect Hearing client and ambassador, and I'm asking the team what they think makes Connect Hearing so special.
We listen to our clients and take the time to help you understand your hearing loss, so you get what you need, exactly tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold, and that's why Connect Hearing's been awarded gold from FIVEAA for consistent high-quality service. For gold service audiology, book your free consult at connecthearing.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible morning shower and 18 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A van with a pole attached has reversed into the glass front door of a Felixstowe supermarket. It happened in the early hours of this morning. A staff member was on site and the offenders drove off. Police are investigating a two-car crash at Paradise last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it happened at the intersection of Darley and Lower North East roads.
One of the drivers, an 18-year-old Ingle Farm man, was unresponsive when emergency services arrived at the scene. He was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital by ambulance and his condition has improved. Is not believed to be life-threatening. The driver of the other car, a 20-year-old Prospect woman, sustained minor injuries and a 20-year-old female passenger wasn't injured. Both vehicles were towed from the scene and investigations into the cause of the crash are ongoing.
Opposition leader Anthony Albanese would have himself sworn in immediately as Prime Minister if he wins Saturday's election. Mr Albanese says that would need to be the case so he can attend next Tuesday's Quad meeting in Japan. The gathering involves the leaders of Australia, the US, Japan and India and focuses on security issues. Defence Minister Peter Dutton says he can't believe Mr Albanese is making assumptions he'll win.
I think is hubris writ large. So instead of concentrating on taking people's votes for granted, frankly, they should be getting out their costings at the moment because they're spending money like drunken sailors. I mean, Jim Chalmers is out there saying, just add a few $1 billion each year to the debt that we have. It won't matter.
The state's COVID response is on track for an overhaul at the end of the financial year. New COVID laws that will end the emergency declaration are set to pass Parliament with the support of the Greens and SA Best in the upper house. Premier Peter Malinauskas says the declaration has been in place far too long.
It has never, ever been envisaged that we would have an emergency management declaration, which normally might last for a day or two, last for over 2 years. Yet that's the situation we have here in South Australia, and it's something that I was determined to address after the election, upon being elected, and now, of course, we're getting closer to achieving that.
A new study has confirmed Australian kids prefer watching locally made television. Dennis O'Kane has more.
Swinburne University researchers are putting it down to the so-called Bluey factor off the back of the runaway success of the children's cartoon. The team found that Bluey is relatable and authentic and teaches kids the Aussie larrikin spirit. The landmark research into kids and their television viewing habits also reveals streaming services dominate Australian lounge rooms, and most youngsters watch on TVs rather than on a laptop or a mobile device. Bluey came out on top, ahead of Play School and The Wiggles because of its local settings, terminology, lingo and recognisable family dynamics.
And it's Wear Orange Wednesday. We're being encouraged to wear orange as a way of saying thank you to all State Emergency Service volunteers. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide veteran Travis Boakey's hopeful teammate and restricted free agent Carl Amon will remain at Alberton long term. The 26-year-old is out of contract at season's end and is sure to attract interest from his home state in Victoria. Boak telling Channel 9 he faces a tough decision.
Those conversations will happen when and if needed. He knows this footy club and how special it is to be at this footy club. You know, me and Carl are really close and you know, we'll have that conversation if need be.
Meantime, Richmond coach Damien Hardwick has given AFL superstar Dustin Martin his blessing to finish his career away from the club, which could include a move to Sydney. To soccer, Adelaide United will take on Melbourne City tonight in the opening leg of their semi-final tie. Last night it was the Melbourne Victory beating Western United 1-0. And in the EPL, Liverpool has recorded a 2-1 win against Southampton to close the margin on Manchester City to just the 1 point. Well, a stunning 46 from only 18 balls wasn't enough for Tim David and his Mumbai Indians in the IPL, as they went down by just 3 runs in their clash against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. David belting 3 consecutive sixes to give his side a chance of chasing down a mammoth total of 194.
Oh my goodness! That is as big as anyone we've seen this season!
Yeah, that was a monster 6, that audio thanks to Fox, but David unfortunately was run out the very next ball. His side remains on the bottom of the IPL ladder with just the 1 game left to play before finals. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach, worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Ridleyton, residual delays from nearly a smash Torrens Road at Blight Street. At Elizabeth East, look out for a smash Main North Road near Halsey Road. Stirling got a breakdown on the freeway down track at the moment. It's near the Stirling ramp. Take some care through there. And we've got cameras to keep an eye out for as well. Birdwood Terrace North, Plimpton, and Dawes Road at Door Park. At Ampol Foodery, every stop is covered. There are food-to-go stops, coffee, milk and bread stops. When you need to keep moving, Ampol Foodery is worth a stop. Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
18 today with a possible morning shower. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 18. Much the same, and 17 degrees on Friday. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Jono, wear your safety boots.
In the Stariolode.
Hard hat, high-vis vest.
In the Stariolode.
Listen, I know you're used to feeling protected in the Stariolode, but that's only useful when you're inside the van, mate. Hyundai Stariolode is the only commercial van that has both ANCAP 5-star and Platinum safety rating. And from just $47,990 drive away for ABN holders, now's a smart time to buy. T's and C's apply. Visit hyundai.com.au/offers for details. Imagine that, Hyundai.
Every day, they tell you their news is local. And every day, they bring you news made in Sydney. Watch the news you can trust. Adelaide's 7 News, made right here, mornings, afternoons, and 6 p.m. every night.
Nick Chigwidden from Physio Extra talks about how One Solution streamlined their business.
At Physio Extra, we needed to upgrade our IT and communication systems, which is critical to us having a successful business. We spoke to the guys at One Solution, and they provided us with a fantastic strategy on how we could bring our phone and our IT under the one roof. The ongoing service and support they've provided us is also excellent. I certainly recommend One Solution for any business.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. John Blake on the way before 8 o'clock today, then after 8. The great Simon Hill will join us to preview the Reds clash with Melbourne City tonight. We've got 3 double passes to give away. That is going to be a fantastic night. We'll talk Australian rules football too after 8:30 today, because there's an element of this discussion about umpiring that has particularly captured us, and it came about as a result of a number of calls and texts we received on the program earlier in the week from people who are the parents of umpires, young umpires, and people who go to junior footy a bit, and we're saying, look, listen, there's an issue with the way some parents behave, some spectators behave towards young people. So we're going to go more in depth on that after 8:30. But right now, it's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster, thanks to Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. CrimeStoppersSA.com.au. Morning to you, Sean.
I know all about the sports ball. Good morning.
You love it. We know that.
Now, Sean, we're going to discuss this next story with a somewhat heavy heart, because I've got to say, I love the Atlas Continental Cafe. We've done the outside broadcasts many times at the Central Market, and the people who run it, wholly reputable business, excellent food. But as anyone who has ever cooked knows, they had a bit of a mishap with some food preparation that landed them in court.
Yeah, this is a very unfortunate case. Atlas Cafe served up in May last year one of their signature brekkie rolls, which is scrambled eggs, bacon, cheese, bit of spinach, that sort of thing.
I've eaten them, they're good.
Yeah, this one wasn't so good. This one had 3 shards of broken glass in it. Now, the consumer actually consumed them, unfortunately, and got quite sick as a result of it, at least had to, pass the glass by the sounds of things. We're not sure on all the details yet. That hasn't come out in court, but the company and its director pleaded guilty yesterday to breaches of the Food Safety Code. They'd originally been charged with a host of offences. There was a plea bargain deal struck with the Adelaide City Council. They pleaded guilty to 2 offences, that being failing to stop glass from getting into the fry pan, which is what leads me to think it was probably in the scrambled eggs, because, fry it up, and failing to, stop a consumer actually swallowing 3 shards of glass.
Can I ask you, Sean, are those offences the kind of thing where you get into trouble because this was a once-off, and it happens, it sucks, but, you're in the food preparation business and there's no wiggle room in terms of safety? Or can you only be guilty of these things if there's precautions that weren't taken and there was something you could have foreseen that you didn't do?
Well, the idea is that it's an offence of absolute liability. The minute that a foreign object enters food, you're done.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that...
Doesn't matter how good all your practices are and everything else.
Well, the idea is that if your practices are really good, it would never have happened in the first place.
Right, okay.
We've seen cases in the past. There was one I did earlier in the year about the pizza bar out at Valley View that had broken glass all over the top of the pizza. Now, that place, the lights had broken in the ceiling and had shattered glass all over their cooking utensils. So the glass had ended up being transferred from, egg flippers and salt shakers into the pizza. That business, however, had all sorts of other problems in terms of vermin, pestilence, and that's not what we've got here. This is not a case of a business that has been grubby all over the top.
It's a great business.
Which is what the Valley View place was. That place needed a top-to-bottom clean-up. They got fined $10,000 for what they'd done. Here at Atlas Cafe, you're looking at a smaller regulatory fine because, as the Adelaide City Council has agreed, this is a discrete incident. And incredibly embarrassing for a business that has been literally part of the fabric of the Central Market for 40 years. This is a family, generational business. I went there yesterday after court just to see what things were like, and busy as anything, people everywhere, people eating, and it's just one of those things that is unfortunately going to have to be dealt with because you can't go past glass in a brekkie.
When we do our outside broadcasts, they're literally just across from us.
Yeah.
So,
but I can imagine a set of circumstances where something like that happens and you don't even realise.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you think about the way a kitchen line works, particularly in a small space like that. Like, say a fluoro popped and you've got your eggs beaten, ready to go. You've got 6 white paper slips in front of you of what the orders are, and you're just going eggs into the pan. You'd be looking around in all sorts of different directions. It's a high-pressure environment. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately for everybody involved, except for the person who ate the glass, it's no excuse. Because at the end of the day, a human being has still consumed 3 shards of glass.
I've got some vague memory. Isn't there a court case about a snail in a bottle? That's like the bedrock of...
That's the
liability test.
Yeah.
My daughter was actually talking about that the other day. She called from where she's doing her law degree, and she's like, do you know about this case? I'm like, yeah, that's like the definitive setter of the whole thing.
Yep.
Who was responsible for the snail and the alcohol?
The police wrote a song about it. No, that was message in a bottle, not snail in a bottle. Anyway.
Well, it depends how chatty the snail was.
That's right.
Will's gone.
I just wonder if you ate something this morning. It was a little bit...
I did. It was a summer pudding.
Someone should look into it. Cause
I thought he was a bit of an eaten mess, personally.
Total mess.
Now, the other thing we want to talk about with you this morning is a road rage incident. Well, alleged road rage incident.
Yeah, this one is very concerning. So you've got an incident where two cars, according to the police, fail to give way to one another on West Terrace. Driver of one car, a 70-year-old, gets out and goes to remonstrate with the driver of the other car, who's a taxi driver. He and the taxi driver start remonstrating. According to the police, the passenger of the car, a 30-year-old man, gets out, gets between them, punches on with the 70-year-old, and when the 70-year-old bends down to pick something up, knees him in the head with full force, a blow that would ultimately turn out to be fatal. 12 days later, the 70-year-old man died in hospital. According to police, the 30-year-old gets back in the car, says to the driver, "It's all right, bro, I got you, we in the hood," drives away. When he's arrested later, he says, "I'm a trained martial artist." According to the police, "I needed to defend myself because..."
Against a bloke who's got
40 years on him.
40 years older.
That's right.
This guy got martial arts training.
Yep. He said, "I needed to defend myself and the taxi driver because I feared for my life, and also the other bloke had a whole bunch of brothers in the car." The bunch of brothers in the car were his wife, his brother, and his sister-in-law, and his brother and sister-in-law are both dementia patients.
Can you just repeat, what are the form of words that this guy used, Sean?
"I got you, bro, we in the hood."
How do we know that he
I
said
reckon
that?
if you say something like, "I got you, bro, we in the hood," like certain straight out of Compton sort of Grand Theft Auto vibe to your general demeanour, that... Can we read a little bit into that, or should I just shut up in case I start drifting towards being contemptuous? Because it just sounds...
I reckon give it one more week, because next week we're going to apparently see in court the CCTV footage to answer your question, Will, where this is recorded, because of course the in-taxi camera has picked up the entire conversation.
Oh, okay.
And because it happened on West Terrace, there's CCTV everywhere that has picked up the fight from every angle. So this young self-professed martial artist is asking for home detention bail, saying that he's not a threat to the community. The police are saying, well, we'd like an extra week to pull all the video footage together and show it to the court before you make that decision.
Because I read every word of this article just in disbelief, Sean. Like, even his subsequent comments to the police suggested that in this bloke's funny little mind, he seems to think he's doing society a favour.
Yeah, he said as far as he's concerned, he acted in the correct circumstances as far as he's concerned. Now look, my grandfather... If he were, when he was alive, if he'd come at you at 70, you would have been worried, because my grandfather's a former champion boxer, arms like tree trunks. He's the sort of guy that probably would mess you up if you ticked him off in a road rage incident. But the gentleman involved in this, there's no evidence whatsoever that he was a danger beyond responding to aggression. And that's going to be the question for the court. Who's the instigator? Who's the responder? And as we talked about at length on Just Lawful a few months ago, is the response proportionate? Because that's the test for self-defense. If you guys suddenly jump up and come at me with chairs, and I answer back with a chair, that's okay, because it's reasonable. But if you guys come at me with your fists, and I pull out a knife and stab you both, that's not reasonable self-defense anymore, because I've escalated it.
Yeah.
If you do that whole Untouchables thing of, he brings a knife, you bring a gun, then you have stepped out of the bounds of self-defense.
So, what's the history of how courts assess people who have had martial arts training? Is it a factor at all that you have some sense of how to hit, how to avoid being hit, how to be in fights?
It would be, wouldn't it?
Is that a factor?
It's something that I've seen very sporadically. You'll hear prosecutors say, this person is capable of doing more damage than the average person, therefore they need to be more careful. That's a difficult proposition for a judge to necessarily accept, because are you always more dangerous?
Yeah.
Were you impaired in that moment? Were you panicked? You may be the greatest martial artist in the world, within the walls of the squared circle, but on a street, do you panic like an ordinary person?
Yeah, sure.
Does your training transfer?
Yeah. All the words that have come out of that guy's mouth that we've seen so far suggest to me, and it's genuinely scary. Like, just think about it. My daughter's just started driving. She's got a P. It's like, and my elderly parents still drive, and they're very good drivers. Like, you think, all the civilised people that you know and love are out there on the road have to deal with people like this alleged
martial artist.
I was trying to think of a word that wasn't contemptuous, and I couldn't, so I just won't say anything.
This alleged eaten mess?
Yeah, well, let's go with that.
Good use of silence, Dave.
Thank you.
Sean, great to have you in.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you Sunday night for Just Lawful.
Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au. Let's check traffic, and you can win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation home lottery.
At Elizabeth East to smash on Main North Road near Halsey Road. Allenby Gardens, sewer maintenance works there. Grange Road near Coombe Road heading towards the beach. Firle, median works on Glenburn Road near Yongala Street affecting both directions. And we're busy at the moment, Churchill Road North, Cormac Road to Port Wakefield Road. Cameras, Anzac Highway, Ashford and Fox Creek Road at Cuddly Creek. This National Road Safety Week pledged to slow down on the road to protect those who protect and assist us. Take the pledge at roadsafetyweek.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Rachel Swift, health specialist, small business owner, volunteer and Liberal candidate for Boothby. I listen and will be the strongest advocate for our community. A strong economy means a stronger future. Vote 1 for Rachel Swift in Boothby.
Authorised West Meldrum Liberal Adelaide.
Would you like to bank $500,000? You could do just that if you get your tickets early in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 2 early birds will each take away $500,000 in cash. There's no better reason to get in early. Your tickets also stay in the draw for the $4 million grand prize at Henley Beach. Join the fight and buy your tickets at homelottery.com.au.
Licence M14166.
Peaceful living awaits at the 19th at West. With golf course views, tree-lined walking trails and a new cafe and retail shopping precinct, the best of the West is at your fingertips. The architectural home designs allow for effortless living. It's no surprise 19th at West is selling quickly. Discover the new collection of exclusive 3 and 4 bedroom designs today. The19thwest.com.au. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. We're extremely proud to offer our consumers a comprehensive healthcare hub supported by some of South Australia's most experienced surgeons and physicians. Pharmacy, radiology, physiotherapists and a cafe that serves as a great meeting venue are just some of the services that ensure you'll never have to leave the building. All the care you need under one roof. For more information, visit westernhospital.com.au.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they are offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Or as David knows, it's snail in a bottle. I think that was a law 101 joke that we got a little bit earlier. It's still there knocking around in the old headspace.
That's all I can remember.
12.1 degrees outside at the moment. Top of 18 expected today. The rain dissipates. There's 20% chance of any rain whatsoever, but it drops away to 0 tomorrow and a top of 18. 17 on Friday, no rain. 20 on Saturday, unlikely to be any rain. Same Sunday, 22. Monday, 23, but then maybe a little bit of a sprinkle on Tuesday, 23, and up to 2 mils of rain. We have had thus far in May 27.6 mils. We usually have somewhere in the order of 61.4, so we're about We're nearly half of our rainfall, and what are we at the 18th of May? So it's actually been a bit of a dry May than we would have typically expected. There's been some rain that's fallen the last 24 hours, though. Belair's had 11 mils, Crafers West has had 10, Morphett Vale 6.8, Salisbury 5.2, Harndorf 5.8, Keswick 2.6, and Seaton has had 2.4 mils of rain.
Be nice up at Belair on a day like today, wandering around. My favourite part of Belair is RSL Walk, which is the very back end, the very far eastern end, where they planted all these weeping cherries after, I think it was after World War II, and they're still there. They look like they don't really flower that much anymore because they're so old and gnarled. But at the back of it, you walk over this little path that takes you over a creek, then you walk through this area with heaps of gum trees, and it's filled with koalas. There's koalas everywhere.
Really?
Every time we go, we see like about 10. But then you come out of this massive row of sequoia trees that are just gigantic. Awesome trees.
One of them beautiful walks through there.
Oh, it's terrific. But there's hardly ever anybody there. Might be a few more people there now, sort of giving away the spot. But it's great.
Are walking spots like fishing spots? You sort of have your marker and you don't tell anyone?
It's a pretty well-known park.
Okay.
But yeah, generally you don't see that many people there.
But you're right, it is a beautiful spot. Nice as well when there's a bit of moisture in the air around this time too. And sort of this
good
time
walking
of year.
weather.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's perfect.
It's like
walking
T-shirt,
weather.
rain jacket weather.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
As long as you're having a crack when you're walking. Who was it who said the best exercise is to walk as if you're going somewhere? It was an American president.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said walk with purpose, walk like you need to be somewhere. That's his, and it's a good definition of pace. Don't jog, but don't dawdle. Just, put your foot down, walk fast.
Time for John Blake. That's advice for life. That was good. You're back on track, I've noted this hour. You're back. You're back.
I feel like you've nursed me through it.
You've come good. It pays to listen to the first hour. You never know what's going to happen. Let's give it over to John Blake, who is going to have lots of fodder out of today's program. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Morning, Premier. Tom Goodson-Toners is here to see you.
Okay, thanks, Steph.
Shall I put a sock in his mouth and send him in?
Yes, thanks, Steph. Don't worry about the sock.
Right you are, no sock. You can go in.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Come in, Tom.
Hello, Premier Pete. Oh.
G'day, Tom. What's up?
Oh, what about Xenophon, eh? Oh, boy.
What about him?
Doing that TV ad and jumping in the pool with his shirt open. What a nitwit.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, yeah, I know, but your chest is a lot fuller than Nick Xenophon's. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
He was wearing a false chest anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't even his real chest.
No.
You showed that you were a leader and used your own chest, Premier Peter.
Yeah, okay.
And everybody agreed it looked good.
Thank you.
I wish I had a chest like yours.
Oh, yeah, listen.
Then I could jump into a pool and everybody would look at me.
You think they would?
Did you do anything to your chest before you got in the pool, or
Like what?
well, shave it or polish it?
Oh, Tom, look, I've got work to do.
Premier Peter, I'm thinking of changing my name back to Anastasius.
Why?
Because the only reason I'm called Tom is because one of my teachers at school couldn't pronounce Anastasius. Oh.
Yes, Premier.
Steph, bring me a sock.
Will do.
A sock? What do you want a sock for?
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. A few texts coming through on the Telstra Storm Outback text line.
One here saying Albo's getting a rougher time of it from the travelling press pack than ScoMo is. Peter says, guys, why don't we hear and see tougher questions of Morrison like instead of photo ops? Media Watch got it right the other night.
I think he copped it a bit from Tracy Grimshaw last night.
Yeah, I can think of quite a few. Lee Sales gave him some pretty solid scrutiny the other night.
To that point, I think sometimes when it gets to the policy nitty-gritty, it always seems like oppositions are getting it tougher because there's always less detail. When you've been in government, you've had 3 or 4 years where you've had whole departments work up policies and ideas that you can then champion in a campaign. They're fully fleshed out. I can speak from experience, being in an opposition leader's office, trying to put policy together, and this goes to the whole costings discussion we had earlier. Your resources are precious.
Yeah.
You'd be stunned how little support you've got coming up with a policy agenda. You speak to people in industry, and of course you cast a wide net. But in terms of the specifics and costings and all this kind of stuff, you're up against it. It's always David and Goliath, the opposition v the government.
The added complication too would be you're often proposing a new idea.
Exactly.
Something that's not been done before.
That's right.
So, like, okay, how's that going to work?
I always think that's the case here. It's always easier to be tough on an opposition with an idea.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah. Paula McGill says, inspired by the muffin bean thing, that we should get an octopus in to pick the election.
Well, why not? Why not?
I'd give John a call at Samtas.
Yes. We'll
Although
do that.
they come in a bag from Western Australia.
They're predicting days are behind them, those ones, aren't they?
Yeah. They haven't got much to offer anymore, apart from, delicious Greek barbecue.
Minute to 8, 5AA News is on the way, breaking 8, not too far off.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor can't say how they'd pay for billions in extra spending. That means
More taxes are coming, more taxes with Labor.
it won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by AHO's Liberal Canberra.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
The solar system installed by NRG Solar has made us change our habits in relation to the use of electricity. We followed the advice to use most of the electricity, like the aircon, during the day. And so I think that's a way of forcing the prices down as well. We have solar monitoring, and I consult it most every day, and it's been very useful to see the trends.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
With tax time approaching, it's time to take advantage of the federal government's instant asset write-off. It's also a great time to speak to Toyota about a new forklift for your business. Check out their huge range of quality Toyota forklifts, pallet jacks, walkie stackers, reach forklifts, and more. With legendary reliability and safety, plus cleaner, greener electric options. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Terms and conditions apply.
Before you vote, have a listen to Craig Kelly's policy speech at the United Australia Party launch. See it on Channel 10 tonight at 9:45pm. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible morning shower and 18 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
Police are hunting 3 men after a brazen ram raid at Felixstowe. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it happened just after 4 a.m.
Police were called to a supermarket on Paynham Road after a staff member had disturbed 3 men who had broken into the store. And the men had used a long pole attached to a white van to break the glass in the front door by reversing the van towards the store and using the pole to smash the window.
The staff member shouted at the trio, who got back in the van and sped off. Nothing was stolen. A young driver was found unresponsive after a crash at Paradise last night. The 18-year-old man's car collided with another vehicle at the intersection of Darley Road and Lower North East Road. He was taken to the RAR by ambulance. His condition has improved and is not believed to be life-threatening. The driver of the other car, a 20-year-old Prospect woman, suffered minor injuries and her female passenger was not injured. Police are investigating the cause of the crash. An 18-year-old man will front court today, charged with several drug offences, including trafficking. Police seized more than 1,400 tablets at Elizabeth Vale yesterday. They were labelled Xanax, but actually contained illicit substances. 3 teenagers ended up in hospital after allegedly being supplied with the pills. We've hit the halfway mark in the final week of the election campaign. The Prime Minister has flown from the Northern Territory to Geelong in a bid to shore up votes in Victoria. Clinton Maynard is there.
After campaigning in Darwin in 35-degree heat, Scott Morrison will experience Victoria's May chill this morning. He's flown into Geelong and is due to give a speech to an Australian-Israeli group today. But Victoria is crucial. Kooyong and Goldstein are at extreme risk of falling to Climate 200 independence. Chisholm is held by a wafer-thin margin. But it's here on the surf coast at Torquay, just on the outskirts of Geelong, the Liberal Party believes they could spring an upset and win the seat of Corangamite from Labor.
A shift in voter sentiment has seen the race for the top job on Saturday tighten. An opinion poll conducted for Nine by Resolve Strategic shows Labor's lead after preferences has narrowed to 51 to 49%. Labor's primary vote has dropped 3 points to 31%. The Coalition's is up 1 point to 34%. SAPOL is undertaking a major road safety blitz today. Michaela Kamarik has more.
Uniform and plainclothes police will be out in force on both city and country roads, targeting driver distraction. Being distracted behind the wheel has become the major cause of fatal road accidents, overtaking drink driving and speeding. Over the past 5 years in SA,
most of the positions are in the US. US Congress has held its first open briefing on UFOs in more than 50 years. Top intelligence officials face questioning on what they know during a hearing into unidentified flying objects. Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Bray says they're vowing to be more open and transparent on the issue with the American public.
UAPs are unexplained, it's true, but they are real. They need to be investigated, and many threats they pose need to be mitigated.
The Pentagon says it is not about revealing possible foreign life, but about national security threats. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
And with everything footy, it's over to Tom Wren.
Yes, thank you, Mel. Let's begin there. Adelaide is a chance to pick forward Riley Thilthorpe for Saturday night's clash against St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. Crows head of player health and performance rehabilitation, Tim Parham, telling the club's website he's looking good.
Yeah, Riley's tracking along really well. Obviously had the hiccup with the health and safety protocols. Should there have been a SNFL game last week, he certainly would have featured in that. But nonetheless, he's been training fully and in really good space to play.
The Crows will train at Adelaide Oval this morning. To soccer now, Melbourne Victory has recorded a 1-0 win against Western United in the first leg of their semi-final tie.
Here it comes, the punch from Jamie Young. Back in, oh, Jake Brimmer! The goal has come from Victory's informed man.
Audio there thanks to Channel 10. Yeah, it was an absolute peach, that one. Tonight it's Adelaide United's turn when they host Melbourne City. Well, the Premier League title race will come down to the final day after Liverpool came from 1-0 down to beat Southampton 2-1 this morning. And Lionel Messi is reportedly joining MLS club Inter Miami once his contract with Paris Saint-Germain ends in 2023. Briefly elsewhere, the New South Wales Swifts have jumped up to third on the Suncorp Super Netball table following a thrilling 61-60 win against the Sunshine Coast Lightning. The Melbourne Vixens took care of the West Coast Fever last night 70-64. And some good results for our tennis stars as they prepare for the French Open. South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis had a straight sets win against Italy's Fabio Fognini at the Geneva Open to move into the round of 16, while fellow Aussie Alex de Minaur came from a set down to beat Frenchman Hugo Humbert in 3 sets at the Lyon Open. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach, worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Elizabeth East, a smash on Main North Road near Horsey Road. Glen reports of a smash on Payneham Road at Avenue Road. At Allenby Gardens, sewer maintenance works there today. It's on Grange Road near Coombe Road as you're heading towards the beach. And Woodville works along Port Road heading inbound, causing delays from Cheltenham Parade to Kilkenny Road. Got a camera at Anzac Highway at Ashford too. And wishing a big happy birthday to Flight Centre, celebrating 40 years of taking off. Visit their website to be in to win one of 40 epic holidays. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
18 for your Wednesday with a possible morning shower. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 18. Friday, much the same, and 17. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, breaking at 8 coming up in just a moment. We've been alerted to a 5-car accident on the southeastern freeway affecting city-bound between Crafers West and the tunnels. 5 cars involved in it. I'm not sure of the extent of the damage. Let us know if you're in the area or indeed the extent of the hold-up. Not a great spot for it to take place. 8223 0000, or you can flick us a text and be off air. 0448 08 1395. That is the Telstra Storm Outback text line. If you'd like to get along to Hindmarsh tonight to see Adelaide United's final home game of the season, there's none bigger either. It's the first leg of the two-legged semi-final clash with Melbourne City. We have 3 doubles to give away, and we'll be doing that in the next 10 minutes of the program. So make sure you stay listening. We'll tell you how you can win those very shortly.
We've done a lot of work over the last 3 weeks about the case of the outback nurse Gail Woodford, who lost her life under the most horrific of circumstances back in 2016 while working in the AP Wirelands. We were speculating last week that it was likely that the state government, in addition to honouring its pre-election commitment of holding an inquiry into the policies and procedures of Safe Work SA, which oversees workers' safety, that they may also be holding a separate inquiry into the specific management of the Woodward case, about which it's been alleged that there were a number of deficiencies, one of which I guess could be best summarised as a degree of heartlessness about the way the family was treated. We're joined now by the Attorney-General, Kaya Ma, who had a bit to say about this case yesterday in Parliament. Attorney, good morning and thanks for your time. Can you just walk us through what it is that the government is looking at doing in relation to this case?
Yeah, David, as you outlined, we are, and it was an election commitment to have a thorough review of the policies and procedures generally of Safe Work SA and their functions. But that's a reasonably big piece of work that will take many months to complete. We wanted to do something much more targeted and much more quickly in relation to the Woodford case. We need to make absolutely sure that everything is done as well as it can be in terms of the investigating of these sorts of things, particularly in the tragic circumstances that Gail Woodford's death occurred in. But also we need to make sure people have confidence in the system and in the regulator. So we've appointed John Mansfield, a retired federal court judge with 20 years on the federal bench, to conduct a review into how the investigation was conducted, but also really importantly into how the Woodford family were kept informed during the course of that investigation. Investigative and prosecuting agencies like the police and the DPP in SA have a lot of experience in keeping families informed along the way, and we want to make sure that Safe Work is doing the very best they can in both those aspects, and that's why we've appointed specifically for the Woodford case this review to look into those aspects. And of course, any findings from this will necessarily feed into that bigger piece of work of the policies and procedures of Safe Work.
And also, Kaya Ma, I understand that as Attorney-General, you've also agreed to have a private meeting with the family to discuss their concerns?
Yeah, look, I think that's really important. I communicated to those that are supporting the family that if that's something that the family wish for, and I could understand if they didn't want to do that, that I'm happy to do that. So I understand that they're keen to take that up, and I'm in the hands of the family for a private meeting to sit down and hear from them. I know, David, I spend some weeks every year on the AP Wirelands and have done for quite a long time, just how well regarded and how well appreciated Gail was on the AP Wirelands, and I think that's the least I can do is give up my time to talk to the family if they wish to do that.
Yeah, just finally, when you and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, you told me a story that stayed with me, and this is where the lawlessness of the communities up there is often stressed. But you made a good point, and clearly, Mr. Ma, you made it also in your capacity as an Indigenous Australian, just how devastated so many of the law-abiding members of the community were about what happened. And you told the story of this memorial that was held at a footy ground only a few weeks after Gail died.
Yeah, I was up in Freegon, or as it's known locally, Couchity, only a few weeks after the death of Gail, and it had a really big impact on the community. There were, before the football game that week, which is probably the events that get the highest crowds and most people together in communities on the AP Wirelands, there was a really sombre and beautiful memorial service with very, very senior men, carrying flowers onto the football field in memory of Gail. And, the people who help and serve in these sort of really remote communities, nurses, teachers, doctors, do an amazing job and really are appreciated by the communities. And this has been a tragedy for Gail, for Gail's family, but it was really felt by the community that she served as well.
Absolutely. Well, good on the government for following up on everything that was raised, particularly by the family and their lawyer, Peter McCusker, who I met with last week. We appreciate you coming on, Kyle as Attorney General, to walk us through the latest on this case. Thanks for joining us. Just a horrible bloody story, isn't it? There's everything about it.
Positive development that something might come of it at the very least.
Yes.
14 minutes after 8. Big night in Adelaide tonight. Big night for Reds fans as Adelaide United look to take the first step towards the A-League Grand Final. It's the first leg of a two-legged semi-final against the glamour of Melbourne City. I was there on Sunday when they made it 6 on the trot and marched into the semi, and we are delighted to have 3 double passes to give away to get along to the game tonight. We're just getting to 3 first people through that call in on 8223 0055 while we talk with the voice of the world game in Australia, Simon Hill from Channel 10. Simon, good morning to you, mate.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Well, can the Reds beat the financial powerhouse that is Melbourne City?
Well, I mean, they're not much of a financial powerhouse in the salary cap league, but
there we go. You've got
the richest club.
you can go over the cap to bring in your imports and things like that. So I like to think it's David and Goliath.
That's true, but it's hardly the financial chasm of the Premier League. But you're right. That they do have deeper pockets than most. But in terms of tonight's game, I think Adelaide are every chance over the 2 legs. They've played 3 times this season. Adelaide are yet to lose, 2 draws, and Adelaide won 2-1 at Amy Park. So that's a good omen for them ahead of the second leg, which will be at Amy Park in Melbourne at the weekend. But I think it's important that they try and establish some sort of a lead tonight, which is why obviously the crowd at Hindmarsh, which is always vocal and certainly around finals time, could be their 12th man this evening. So it's shaping to be a fascinating night, and I'm coming down to call it tonight, so I'm looking forward. Not been to Adelaide for a while. I love the city and I love the stadium. Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium. Great once the development on the eastern side's completed as well. What have you made of the job Carl Viet's done this year? Because he's coming for some criticism in the middle of the year. Obviously now those doubters have been silenced, and he's managed to put the Reds in this position whilst developing a heap of really promising young guys as well. What have you made of him? He's done a terrific job. When you consider the problems that he's had this season, he doesn't operate, as you rightly pointed out at the start, he doesn't operate with the greatest budget. He's lost some key players throughout the year, particularly Stefan Morg and Ben Halloran. They didn't win any of their first 5 matches, and then he's had horrendous injury problems and issues with COVID. And I know a lot of clubs have had that this season, but when you're operating with quite a small squad, I think he's done really well to keep the car on the road, if that's the right analogy, going into the finals, and to get them into the top 6 with a home final, and now this semi-final, which the first leg is at home. I think he deserves lots of credit, and the other thing that he probably doesn't get as much credit as he should do is the fact that they've scored 10 goals off the bench this season. So he uses his substitutes really, really well, and you talk about some of those kids that have come through. We know a bit about Mo Toure, obviously, but particularly this year, Nestori Hiram-Kunda, I thought has been terrific as a weapon off the bench. So, now Carl deserves an awful lot of credit. And of course, he lost his number 2 as well in Ross Aloisi midway through the season. But, he's had issues in terms of disruption for his backroom staff as well. So I think he's done a terrific job. So, can we get you to make a pitch to Adelaide people to get along tonight? I've been preaching the virtues of Hindmarsh Stadium. I love the joint, and getting along and watching Adelaide United play there, I actually think it's a fantastic experience for sports fans of any code to do because of the atmosphere you get, the ease of getting in and out, the proximity to the action. As someone who watches this and travels around the country, can you make the pitch to the people of Adelaide of why it's worth getting along to? Because your voice carries a lot of weight in this area. Quite happily. quite happily. This stadium, this club, this atmosphere, when it's a night like tonight, is the best in the country in terms of our code of football. So, if you want to be a part of that, then tonight's the night, really. Adelaide needs your support this evening because Melbourne City are a good side, let me tell you. They're the premiers, and they've got the second leg, as I've already mentioned, to come at home. This is a grand final qualifier over 2 legs. Now, people might remember in 2016, Adelaide Oval, 50,000, that glorious day in the sunshine. Isaiah's free kick and Adelaide winning the championship. It was a wonderful day. Now, this year it's going to be at Amy Park. It won't be in South Australia, even if Adelaide get there. But, what a day out that was. And Adelaide could be there again. They don't come around too often, so this is your chance. It's your last game of the season. If you're going to go to a game, well, it's tonight, or you're going to have to wait till next season. So, no excuses. Come on, Reds fans. Get out there.
Well said. Great to have you in town, Simon. Appreciate your time this morning.
Pleasure, guys.
A-League, voice of the A-League and football in this country, Simon Hill. Delighted to have him on. Great to have him in town, and tonight is going to be just spectacular. Congrats to Nathan, Jamie and Robert, who have called in and have all got tickets to go along as well tonight.
Can you go tonight?
No, I can't go tonight.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I'll be watching at home. Everyone the group we usually go along to games with, including my wife and sister-in-law, we will all be watching on TV tonight.
You gave an impassioned... it was a clarion call for people to attend. I've never been to a Reds game at Highmark.
It is excellent.
Yeah,
it is just
I
excellent. We started going many, many years ago. I remember the Ollie Roos qualifiers were in town. It's the first time I ever went to soccer. It was probably 15 years ago. And the experience of going along and being there, like all live sport, it got me addicted to it. Got me hooked. It's great to go along.
Text from Stephen in Mount Barker about Aussie rules, saying the AFL has ruined football. I much prefer to watch SANFL. Is there any other mainstream sport that changes the rules every year like the AFL does?
That's a great point. 20 minutes after 8, let's check traffic. Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Mansfield Park, smash on Grand Junction Road and Hanson Road. Crafers West, another crash there. It's on the freeway inbound near the Crafers exit, seeing delays at the moment. Glen reports of a smash there, Payneham Road at Avenue Road. And Allaby Garden, sewer maintenance works on Grange Road near Coombe Road. It's as you're heading towards the beach. Keep an eye out for camera 2, Montague Road and Montague. Looking for a new SUV? Talk to the team at Wayne Phillips Isuzu Ute about the feature pack 7-seat Isuzu MUX. Test drive today at Wayne Phillips Isuzu Ute, Christie's Beach. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor hasn't balanced a budget in over 30 years, and their COVID response would have cost an extra $81 billion. Labor didn't even cost their health policy and can't say how they'd fund billions of extra spending in their platform. And that means...
more taxes are coming, more taxes, more taxes. There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, a hole.
It won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by AHOS Liberal Canberra.
God, that ad drives me mad. Oh, sorry, we're on the air.
Yes.
Okay, apologies.
Oh, yeah. Gives you a headache, doesn't it?
This ad, however, is good.
No, this is good. Look, that ad is so bad, it makes me think that I'd prefer to listen to you singing. Are you a shower singer?
Well, yes, I am, Will, but I can tell you the song I don't sing is There a Hole in the Bucket?
Yeah, okay.
But I'll tell you what I do know. Echo Vantage, great people, and they've got something to get anybody singing in the shower. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, Echo Vantage could install your energy-efficient heat pump and save you thousands.
Saving money, saving the environment, and it could be for as little as no cost to you. You'd be silly not to. Electric hot water systems make up about 40% of our home power bills every year. But Eco Vantage can pump this right down.
Now, we met the guys from Eco Vantage last week, and they said one of the problems they have with this is convincing people that it's ridgy-didge, because it sounds like it's too good to be true, but it's because it's government-backed. This is a service that's basically aimed at making your hot water service more environmentally friendly. So it's underwritten, and you can save so much money. It's extraordinary. For little to no out-of-pocket cost, Eco Vantage can swap your hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump that uses about 80% less electricity. So you get it cheaper, and then it costs you less in the long run. It's terrific.
We are so sceptical of deals that sound too good to be true, but this is it.
Yeah.
This is the deal that makes sense.
It's a good example of green policies working well. It's better for the environment and it's better for your power bills.
Absolutely. Pump your power bills down with Eco Vantage. Head to ecovantage.com.au to find out how you could take advantage of government incentives today. T's and C's apply.
Would you like to bank $500,000? You could do just that if you get your tickets early in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 2 early birds will each take away $500,000 in cash. There's no better reason to get in early. Your tickets also stay in the draw for the $4 million grand prize at Headley Beach. Join the fight and buy your tickets at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14166.
Troy?
Yep.
I see you've set a brainstorm session for 11.
Yep.
And the location is in your Hyundai i30?
That's it.
You realise the big rumours of...
I prefer my i30. The remarkable i30 is packed with advanced safety and intuitive tech. And from just $27,990 drive away with auto, now's a smart time to buy. T's and C's apply. Visit hyundai.com.au/offers for details. Imagine that. Hyundai.
Before you vote, have a listen to Craig Kelly's policy speech at the United Australia Party launch. See it on Channel 10 tonight at 9:45pm. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 8, Wednesday, the 18th of May. It's Wear Orange Wednesday today as a way of saying thank you to all SES volunteers across Australia. We'll get David O'Shaughnessy, State Duty Officer from the SES, to repeat it, but I remember there was an illuminating moment for myself and I think a whole heap of people. It might have been after we had a big storm going back earlier in the year when we started inheriting some of that wild weather from the north and east part of the country, where the number of call-outs we heard, it was numbering in the hundreds or thousands right across the state. And it became clear that every single person who goes out and helps out is a volunteer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
David O'Shaughnessy's on the line now. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
How many volunteers do you guys have?
So we have in excess of 1,600 volunteers right across the state. They range from all the way in the west coast over from Ceduna right down to the southeast and through the Riverland and really anywhere you can think of.
It's a staggering number of people. I can remember when Will and I went over to KI after the bushfires, the on the ferry Sea-Link, there were a whole bunch of blokes and women, it should be stressed, because there's plenty of women who are volunteers too, heading over to help. And you guys are ubiquitous. Doesn't matter if it's, Lismore underwater or bushfires here in SA. You always front up.
Yeah, the volunteers we have are amazing. They're highly dedicated, and there's no job too large or too diverse that they can't help with. We're commonly known for the storm and flood emergency like we saw at the start of the year in the north. However, rescues, building collapses, searches for missing people, even right through to supporting SA Health this year with COVID-19. The volunteers do it all. They're an amazing group of people, and it's an awesome day to say thank you to them.
Yeah, it's a good gesture. Good, what's overdue gesture?
What do you guys? Is there sort of what was the day in recent South Australian history that you had the most call-outs or the most volunteers out working, David? Is there one that sort of stands out?
Oh, look, this year, I can't pinpoint the exact day, but certainly during those storms that hit the north of the state in January and February, we had around 1,000 calls for help from the community. We had major flooding across the highways and the train lines up there, so we certainly had a number of volunteers, well supported by other agencies, of course, but yeah, a number of volunteers out there performing rescues, fixing up people's roofs and stopping flooding. So yeah, that January-February period up north was the biggest point we've had this year.
Do you have trouble attracting people, or is it pretty easy to keep those numbers high?
No, we're really lucky that we still keep people coming through the door. Volunteering with SES is an amazing thing to do. I've done it for a number of years as well, and it's something where people can come and build camaraderie with people. They can learn some new skills which they can transfer to their life or to their workplace. And it's just a great way to build your confidence and do something different and serve your community.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Wear Orange Wednesday, Wow Day, as it's known. David O'Shaughnessy, the State Duty Officer for the SES. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks very much for your time. Cheers. It's
a remarkable organisation when you think so. They could be digging up flooded over tracks in the northern part of the state, but at the same time when that storm was happening, there was a flood in the street directly adjacent to me that no cars could drive through.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And there was, I think I sent everyone a picture going, man, this thing's crazy, this storm. And there were SES people standing there. It's the same organisation that's handling both those situations. They do a wonderful job. 28 minutes after 8, 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us as well on the Telstra Store about Barker text. And a reminder of that 5-car accident on the southeastern freeway for city-bound between Crafers West and the tunnels. There are some delays there as well that we're being told about at the moment. So factor that into your movements this morning. News is on the way, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
Construction of 88 O'Connell has commenced. This is truly one of the most impressive developments in Adelaide for a very long time. 88 O'Connell will encapsulate connected living, community and style with boutiques, retail and culinary experiences on your doorstep. 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are still available from $1.1 million. Visit the new display suite at 53 O'Connell Street, North Adelaide. Proudly developed by Commercial and General, creating South Australian communities for over 25 years.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor hasn't balanced a budget in over 30 years, and their COVID response would have cost an extra $81 billion. Labor didn't even cost their health policy and can't say how they'd fund billions of extra spending in their platform. And that means
More taxes are coming, more taxes, more taxes. There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, a hole.
It won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by AHOS Liberal Canberra.
Have you thought about where your face mask was made? Remember, not all face masks are made the same. So when it comes to protecting yourself and your family, think PPE Tech. 100% Australian owned and made. PPE Tech manufactures P2 face masks that comfortably seal to your face and filter more than 98% of particles. Now is the time to protect all Australians and support Aussie-made products. Order online to receive up to 40% off and free delivery at ppetech.com.au. That's ppetech.com.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A possible morning shower today in 18. With the 8:30 news, I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A ram raid with a difference at Felixstowe. Senior Constable Matt Brown says just after 4 this morning, a van with a long pole attached to the back reversed toward a supermarket, using it to break the glass on the front door.
One of the men then got out and used a crowbar to gain entry to the shop, but the staff member inside shouted at the men, who then ran out of the store and got back in the van and sped off.
The hunt for the offenders continues. A new opinion poll shows support for Labor has dropped and the coalition has lifted as the election campaign enters its final days. Michael Packey reports.
The latest Resolve Strategic survey shows Labor's primary vote is sitting at a paltry 31% and the coalition is marginally better on 34%. If this result is replicated on Saturday, it means neither side would be able to govern in their own right and would need the backing of minor parties and independents. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese says he's done his best.
I'm comfortable that we've left nothing on the field.
But Mr Albanese is being accused of hubris after saying he would have himself sworn in as Prime Minister straight away so he can attend next Tuesday's Quad Leaders meeting in Tokyo. Defence Minister Peter Dutton says he can't believe the Labor leader is getting ahead of himself.
Before the final votes have been counted.
The Quad is a security meeting involving Australia, Japan, the US and India.
The Australian Electoral Commission is struggling to fill roles at some polling stations ahead of Saturday's vote. Around 100,000 temporary employees are needed to perform jobs like counting votes and handing out ballot papers. The AEC's Evan Eakin-Smith says it can be hard to get workers at regional booths.
We're reasonably good in the vast majority of areas around Australia. There are some identified regional locations, northwest Queensland, rural areas of WA and South Australia, for instance, where we are struggling to get numbers.
The CSIRO is aiming to develop new psychedelics to help treat people with a variety of mental health issues, including depression and addiction. The organisation will work with local medtech companies to improve existing psychedelic products and develop new ones. Adjunct Professor Peter Duggan says while the signs are positive, there's still a lot of work to do before the drugs become more commonly prescribed.
So there's been limited clinical trials so far, but the results are promising. What's needed is more rigorous, larger clinical trials before we can be sure that they're safe and effective.
The Queen has made her second public appearance this week, Her Majesty making a surprise visit to London's Paddington Station to see the new Elizabeth line. Australians in their 20s are more likely to support a monarchy than older people. 45% of respondents to a new survey are in favour of sticking with the current arrangements, up from 41% late last year. People aged 18 to 29 are more likely to back the Royals than those in their 30s and 40s. Monarchist League head Philip Benwell isn't surprised.
The current younger generation are highly intelligent. They make their own decisions. They just don't accept what they're told, and they come up with a decision and they stick with it.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide United will look to get on the front foot when it takes on Melbourne City tonight in the opening leg of their semi-final tie against Melbourne City at Coopers Stadium. The Reds have had a remarkable run, winning 6 straight games. Commentator Simon Hill telling David and Will, Coach Carl Viet has done a remarkable job.
He's not operating with the greatest budget. He's lost some key players throughout the year, particularly Stefan Morg and Ben Halloran. They didn't win any of their first 5 matches, and then he's had horrendous injury problems and issues with COVID.
Meantime, in overseas action, Liverpool has come from behind to beat Southampton 2-1 in the EPL. To football, and Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon looks set to miss this Saturday's clash against Geelong, with the coaches set to take a cautious approach with his return from an ankle injury. Meantime, Charlie Spargo claims it was an easy decision to re-sign with Melbourne, considering its bright prospects.
It's been 5 years already. 2017 I got drafted. It's gone so quick, flown by, and that's what's really exciting, is that it's got a good core group of players that are sort of in a similar age bracket, and we're really bullish on what the next sort of 2 to 3 years holds.
The 22-year-old premiership forward hasn't missed a senior game since 2020. Well, coach of the Australian women's cricket team, Matthew Mott, is the favourite to be announced as coach of the England men's limited overs team. Brendan McCullum was last week named coach of the test side. And 13-time French Open champion Rafael Nadal has confirmed he will play in the Grand Slam tournament next week. Nadal injured his foot at the Italian Open last week. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach, worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Mansfield Park, smash on Grand Junction Road and Hanson Road. Crafers West, crash on the freeway inbound near the Crafers exit. Seeing delays there. North Adelaide, breakdown on Fitzroy Terrace near Main North Road. And Glen reports of a smash on Paynham Road and Avenue Road. Busy at the moment, Fullerton Road, Wattle Street to Glen Osmond Road. And we've got cameras Montague Road, Montague, and Springbank Road at Clapham. Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians run only to benefit its members. That's a plus. Search Compare Host Plus today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Need a new mattress? Save big dollars and buy direct from the manufacturer. Elite Bedding, South Road, Edwardstown.
A possible morning shower 18 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 18, Friday much the same and 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hi, it's Callum here. I love the look on people's faces when I serve them up a 5-star dish. And the same goes for the team at Edwardstown Mazda. They love the look on people's faces when they first get behind the wheel of their brand new Mazda. It's priceless. So remember, if you're looking for something small, medium or large, Edwardstown Mazda has the pick of the bunch all ready to drive away during their end of financial year sale on now. LMVD 207428.
Hello, I'm Susie Ellman, broadcaster and a Connect Hearing client and ambassador, and I'm asking the team what they think makes Connect Hearing so special.
We listen to our clients and take the time to help you understand your hearing loss, so you get what you need exactly tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold. And that's why Connect Hearing's been awarded gold from FIVEAA for consistent high-quality service. For gold service audiology, book your free consult at connecthearing.com.au.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Hey there, Georgie girl.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Georgie girl, why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try, or is it the clothes you wear?
21 minutes to 9, behind closed doors, not too far away. I wanted to continue a conversation that's been going on the 5AA Sports Show, albeit in the context that it interests us. It's not about the quality of umpiring at the AFL level, or indeed even whether the AFL's rules regarding dissent have a place and are appropriate, but it's a temperature check on what's happening in junior leagues, because the moment we started talking about it in the context of what had been on Rowi's show, we got calls from people who were parents of junior umpires, people who are parents of kids who go out and play regularly at amateur league level or indeed junior football level, and say they see some pretty ugly sights. So we wanted to get a sense of, one, how bad it is, but two, what's being done to combat it. John Kernahan is the CEO of the Adelaide Footy League and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. John, good morning to you, mate.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thanks, John. We had a really fascinating call yesterday from the mum of an umpire, a young male umpire, whose daughter is also going into it, and talking about how commonplace it is for people who are basically still kids who are out there getting paid bugger all to umpire school footy, club footy, to get sprays. Is it something that you see as being almost endemic at the grassroots level?
Oh, listen, I don't know if you'd say it's endemic, but what you would say is, to offer some relativity to it, that it's not confined to Australian rules either. So I'm like you, I'm the father of 3, so I see my kids play a range of sports, whether it be netball, basketball, rowing, and we seem to have this culture at the moment where the parent cohort watching their kids play on the sidelines seem to think that they've got the next Dusty Martin or the next Luke Longley or whatever the case is, and the level of their enthusiasm on the sidelines under the auspices of supporting their child play sport is getting lost. So let's not confine this just to how the umpires have been treating. There are a whole generation of kids coming through at any level of sport that are currently seeing their parents behave in a way that is not conducive to those kids continuing their love, their pursuit for the sport, whether it be playing or umpiring. So this is a bigger issue than just how umpires are being treated.
What do you make of the discussion, and it's something we've been sort of fueling a bit here, that at the elite level, that the rules themselves are part of the problem, and that it's creating an issue for the umpires themselves, or even they don't really know what it is they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, honestly, I think there's a bit of that, and I heard someone say recently that tinkering creates tinkering. So the administrators from their ivory towers make changes to the rules, so the coaches make changes around the way they coach, and the players then come under different stresses on how they play the game. So it just goes around, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think there's a bit in it. You know, the game of soccer hasn't changed. I think they've had 1 or 2 rule changes in 100 years.
Yeah.
We have 1 or 2, yeah.
So,
of course, there's going to be frustration. And let's be fair. The game of Australian rules is a complicated game to play. It's a hard game to play. It's even a more difficult game to umpire. And trust me, I've walked in their shoes in the last few years just so that I can see what they're up against. And it is a difficult game.
Is there an umpire shortage, John?
There's an umpire shortage, there's a volunteer shortage, and I think it goes back to something that I said at the start, that generally the dynamic in which people are participating isn't great at some levels. So, to answer your question, yes, there is. It is. The answer to it, though, it's not as simple. But it's a societal thing. It comes down to how we're treating people. It's not a great environment. I mean, we at the Adelaide Footy League, we pride ourselves on being a long way in front of this. I mean, for years we've been suspending players for abuse of umpires. Clubs have worn sanctions. I certainly appreciate and endorse the AFL's stance at the moment. I'm not so sure that they have the right to pump their chest. It's long overdue. I mean, this is overdue. Make no mistake. And I don't know when the cycle of when we'll see the positives of the cycle of this. But it's not helped either by those that claim to be representing the game. You know, take listening to one of your colleagues, Rowie, and the spray that he gave some umpires. Does he really think that that's helping the game? You know, and Brian Taylor,
in the conversation he had with Bix yesterday, he almost admitted that it might not have been helping.
You know, it's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. Brian Taylor's the same. Not that long ago, we had Kevin Sheedy, one of the most respected people in Australian rules, calling umpires Martians. Now, would he do it today? Probably not. But it starts at the top.
John, you guys have done a really good job stamping out violence and punches behind the play and that kind of stuff at amateur league level by coming down really hard on clubs in their entirety, not just the offenders. Is there any need to go and get really harsh with clubs that have members who repeatedly are the sorts of people that are targeting umpires with abuse and things like that? Well,
you're picking a low-lying fruit to ask me that question, because I would say absolutely. Yep. Because this is what's going to happen if we don't. Unless people are prepared to grab a whistle and take charge of a game, we're not going to have people that will umpire or officiate a game for their kids to play the sport.
Do you reckon coaches need more backup as well, John? Because I coached for 4 years, and God knows why. I mean, it was a triumph of availability over ability, given that particularly Scott Hodges' son and Russell Ebert's grandson were in the team, and I used to look at the pair of them and say, you guys should be holding the clipboard, not me. But I used to find there were a few parents, they were all lovely people, but I reckon at least every week you'd hear one of them getting fired up going, come on, ump, like this, to the 13-year-old who was out there trying to officiate. And I felt as coach like I didn't really have the authority, or indeed it was I had other stuff on my mind, like making sure that, you know, that Blake, who'd missed a quarter the previous week, didn't miss a quarter this week, because it's all about giving the kids an even go. But I sort of felt really uncomfortable about going over to parents and saying, can you please just pipe down?
Well, there are standards being put into place right across the board where, for example, spectators or parents, more to the point, at junior level, can't be within a certain area from the coaches. So, you know, there's a separation there. We try and do the same thing at senior footy. You'd expect people to have some semblance of general courtesy or common sense, but that seems to go out the window as soon as the ball goes. When we talk about white line fever, it applies to parents as well.
Yes, it certainly does. Yeah. Great stuff, John. Yeah. It's a big issue and one that's not going to go away. John Kernahan, CEO of the Adelaide Football League and also life member of the Blacks.
Always lovely hearing John Kernahan speak about anything football-wise and administration-wise.
It's common sense.
A quality, clear, concise and well-thought-out thinker of the game. The good answers, honest and intelligent. I think he's just a terrific communicator. Duncan in Mawson Lakes, good morning. Sorry, Duncan, I think your phone just dropped out for a moment there. We got you now.
Yeah, sorry, boys. Good morning. Hey, just real quickly, I've been involved with soccer 35 plus years. I'm pretty passionate about this. I've been chairman of the club and coach. And parents, basically, most of them are excellent, but there's so many disgraceful parents who abuse the referees in soccer, and they don't actually know the rules. Yeah. And the irony is, I went to 5 games on the weekend with my kids and my niece to watch 5 games, and I go to Adelaide United, and there's people there who literally have no concept of the rules, abusing the referee sitting next to their kids. So their kids automatically go, oh, well, that must be the rules, so I'll abuse him as well. And then the kid starts abusing them. They don't know the rules. When I coached, the rule was if the parent abused the referee, that kid didn't play. Simple as that. We need to be stronger, but silly society today, we live in an era where everything is rage and everything is an explosion where you can't just go watch your kid play football. I guarantee, in the soccer leagues that I coach, the parents are thinking their kids are going to be the next Ronaldo. Completely and utterly delusional, man. You live in a state of this size compared to New South Wales. Parents just need to get a grip of reality and enjoy the kids playing sport.
Yeah, well said, Duncan. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you calling in. 8223 0000. You can text us as well on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Behind closed doors in a moment. But first, let's check traffic. Win your slice of paradise at Henley Beach worth $4 million with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Thanks, Will. At Mansfield Park, smash on Grand Junction Road at Hanson Road. Crafers West, crash on the freeway inbound. It's near the Crafers exit, seeing heavy delays at the moment. North Adelaide, breakdown at Fitzroy Terrace near Main North Road, and Elizabeth East, residual delays from an earlier smash, Main North Road near Halsey Road. Busy South Road as you're driving through Edwardstown, and look out for a camera, Moringi Avenue at North Plympton. Get $20 off at Coles when you spend $250 or more online. Ends May 24. Head to coles.com.au and use promo code online20. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
There's a hole in your budget, dear Labor, dear Labor.
Labor can't say how they'd pay for billions in extra spending. That means
More taxes are coming, more taxes with Labor.
it won't be easy under Albanese. Authorised by AHERS Liberal Canberra.
Would you like to bank $500,000? You could do just that if you get your tickets early in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 2 early birds will each take away $500,000 in cash. There's no better reason to get in early. Your tickets also stay in the draw for the $4 million grand prize at Henley Beach. Join the fight and buy your tickets at homelottery.com.au.
Licence M14166.
Now, this is a serious issue for some women. Is the need to go to the toilet all the time making your life miserable? Do you sometimes feel like your entire day revolves around your bladder? If this sounds like you, Caruso's Wee Less may help. Caruso's Wee Less is a therapeutic bladder health supplement with a unique blend of herbs and magnesium. It helps relieve the annoying and inconvenient feeling that you need to go to the bathroom too often. It also supports bladder health and function and helps reduce the urinary incontinence and urgency associated with a medically diagnosed overactive bladder. So if you want to help control the urge and regain your bladder confidence, try Caruso's Wee Less today. It's made in Australia. It comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your health professional.
Peaceful living awaits at the 19th at West. With golf course views, tree-lined walking trails and a new cafe and retail shopping precinct, the best of the West is at your fingertips. The architectural home designs allow for effortless living. It's no surprise 19th at West is selling quickly. Discover the new collection of exclusive 3- and 4-bedroom designs today. The19thwest.com.au. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
In times of loss, you need Embrace. Arranging Mum's funeral was never going to be easy. But Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals truly cared about delivering the perfect funeral to honour her life, to share our beautiful family memories, along with those of the many other lives she'd touched. Every detail of Mum's funeral was created with exceptional care and at a really affordable cost. Embrace Funerals gave us peace of mind. When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Hilux from Jarvis Toyota. The tough new Hilux features an upgraded 2.8 litre diesel, delivering 20 kilowatts more power. The Hilux is packed full of Toyota Safety Sense intelligent technology, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, plus 3-year cap price servicing. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 to 9. Some news out of Sapole for a road traffic situation. Road closures are in place around a crash at Barbados Drive and Griffiths Drive, Seaford Rise, after a pedestrian was struck by a car. There are emergency services at the scene And Sapole is saying avoid the intersection if possible. So closures in place around Barbados. It's getting late in the day, isn't it? Barbados Drive.
Rocky.
Barbados Drive and Griffiths Drive, Seaford Rise. Just one to be aware of this morning. Now, Sam Datto is in the studio. He's the face of a man who is at the fulcrum of complaint calls. Sam, good morning to you.
Morning, how are we?
Good.
We're going better than you, mate. You've been copping it again from the listeners.
Just a little bit.
How's Bias Watch going? Where are we at?
Bias Watch for Wednesday, the 18th of May.
Yes.
About 5 minutes ago, I copped another We Are Labour Stooges.
Yes.
And that
what was the reason?
And that David Pendlebury should learn to not be so biased.
Yeah, this is because we were rude about the Liberal bucket ad.
I reckon.
Which is annoying. I don't care who you vote for.
But, however, about whenever we played the Albanese audio of him walking out.
7:05.
We were Liberal Stooges back then.
Yes.
So we change almost by the minute.
We were Liberal Stooges at 7:05.
Correct.
But then about 8:20, our Labor bias came through, and you were on the receiving end. Can we recount the sledges, or are they not suitable for a PG?
Let's just we'll keep it off air for now. But just let you know, I'm on the front line for you two, putting in the hard work, taking all the complaints.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
thank you.
Sam.
There you go.
That's Sam, the human shield Datto.
Yeah,
with an update on Bias Watch.
Just cops it.
Cops it sweet.
Cops it on the chin. Coming in every day. Good on you, Sam. You're a legend, mate. Why do people care that much?
Look.
They're barking mad, aren't they? Ringing Sam, screaming at him.
Yeah. I don't know
it's
what.
Good that we're copping it from both sides,
and especially considering he's a big Clive Palmer guy.
I know he loves Clive Palmer.
So that's
exactly.
Never walk out of the studio, Sam, without the right of being able to defend yourself.
He's wearing a yellow T-shirt and a fat suit.
Exactly.
I said to him earlier, "What's on your mind, mate?" And he just looked at me and said, "Save our homes. Save our homes."
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395 Adelaide's 5AA. This is Andrew Reimer.
Yes, welcome back to the program with me, Andrew Reimer, on Interactive 5AA 30.5 on your AM dial. Keep those SMSs and emails coming in, and of course you can ring me on 822 300. Here's an SMS. Hi Andrew, great show as usual, you're great. Thank you for that SMS. Keep those SMSs coming in, won't you, and be interactive. Hi, Andrew. Love listening to you. Great show. I'm sure your armpits smell like lavender. Thank you for that as well. An email here from Mark who says, Hi, Andrew. Great show. Love listening to you, and I love you more than my wife. Thank you for that. He goes on to say, I think calling English people POMs has to stop. The same with WOG. Both terms are racist and offensive, and it's time we moved on. Thank you for that email as well. You see, look, I don't know, maybe it's just the era that I grew up in when racism was fine, that I don't find the term POM as being offensive. And I know many people of ethnic background who call themselves WOGs, so that obviously makes it okay for the rest of us to use those terms as well. It comes from that generation when, you just got used to it. And let's face it, if you keep the racism going for a long time, then you just get used to it, then it doesn't bother you, so problem solved. If you're the one doing it. I mean, it's just a way of describing people who come from European backgrounds. I mean, I used to cop it quite a lot. Being of German heritage, I got called Kraut quite a lot, but it didn't worry me in the slightest. Which, of course, again, makes it okay. And, of course, if they're a grumpy German, then they're a sauerkraut. You see, racism can be funny as well. Here's an SMS from Isabel. She says, Andrew, I want to thank you for being an amazing announcer. I love your attitude and sense of humour. It's such a joy listening to you, and I look forward to hearing you so much each week. I'm sure the soles of your feet are like velvet, and if I licked them, would taste like a chocolate eclair. Thank you very much indeed for that, Isabel, and your kind words as well. Let's say hello to Nick. Hi, Nick.
Oh, hello, Andrew. I'm a walk and I'm proud to be one.
Yes, that's right. Good on you, Nick. You see, it's perfectly okay. And next time I go to the US and I'm talking to an African-American person, I'm sure it'll be okay if I use the N-word because they use the word themselves.
Deary me. All right, Blakey, time for Fuel Watch. Download the free My RAA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Prices hovering in the mid-$70s. The Liberty Hampstead Road Clearview $73.5. The ex-Convenience Grand Junction Road Port Adelaide $73.5. And the Liberty Baringi Avenue Camden Park $73.5. Also, cheapest diesel, the ex-Convenience Main North Road Jeps Cross $95.9. Time for a headline.
Glad you got there. It's a long one. Eton mess up. Buffhead broadcaster banished after dessert debacle as Rose Hancock is found alive.
It's a big news day.
Oh, there's so much to fit in there. Yeah. So many stuff-ups to chronicle.
We're out of time. Graham Gooding's coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
$1 trillion of debt means 6% home loan rates, and you will lose your home. We'll freeze home loan rates below 3% for 5 years.